And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Britain Sports Network. I'm Jim Funderburg, along with Jim Bellamy on this beautiful Saturday afternoon from Albion College. And Jim, I'll tell you what, I gave up about 43 degrees to come here today. Last week I was watching you guys do the ball game from Florida, from Pensacola, Florida, where it was 87 and sunny. And when we pulled in the lot today and said hi to Carl, it was 43 and sunny and on the campus of Albion College here in Michigan. So I lost half my warm from last year, Jim. How do we make that up?
Well, you're not gonna. Welcome to mid to late fall in Michigan. It's going to be, I think it's going to be like this. I mean, today's a very beautiful day. Sunday's going to be partly cloudy out, but the temperatures are going to be in the mid 40s, maybe high 40s. But you know, it's just, this is about the best you're going to get weather-wise, I think, for the rest of the football season. At this point now, you're going to start to see, you know, the rain. You're going to see possibly the snow as the season starts to creep towards an end. But this is absolutely gorgeous football weather. And it's going to be a fun contest between a one-loss team and an undefeated team. Yeah. And, you know, that one-loss team really has a lot to prove. But to be honest, I think the undefeated team maybe even has a little more to prove.
I think it does, and I think if you would tell people before the season started that this game was going to feature a team that was 5-0 and a team that was 4-1, they would all say, okay, Albion's off to a good start. And Kalamazoo's off to a pretty darn good start, too, because the Hornets have had some pretty tough roads in the last few years. And to be 5-0 coming into this week number 6 contest here in Albion on a Saturday afternoon, I would bet that all their faithful are pretty happy. Now, when you take a look at that group of wins that they have put together here this year, that gets you back to a little more reality, Jim.
Yeah, you look at their opening schedule in early September. They played 2 home games against Oberlin and Greenville, and they won 24-7 and 42-7. They went to Rockford, won 23-7. So, again, there's a consistent pattern there. 4 of their 5 victories, they've only given up 1 touchdown. The closest game they've had by far is the game on the 29th against Adrian, a home game where they won 31-30 thanks to that missed extra point. And then last week they went to Finlandia and they took care of business, winning 56-7. So one of the things you can look at with Kalamazoo, you can look at the quality of opponent and you can say, okay, you know, now they're going to start facing the tougher teams, maybe the higher echelon teams in the MIAA for the rest of this season. However, you look at the defense. You look at what the defense has done, and you have to give respect to that defense. Again, 4 of the 5 games they've had, they've only given up 1 touchdown.
When you take a look at the won and loss columns for the teams they played, Oberlin 1-4 here going into this week, along with Greenville, along with Rockford. So all 3 of those teams are sitting at 1-4. Adrian at 2-3, and obviously Finlandia goes into play here this afternoon at 0-5. That Adrian game, it really, if you looked at it just from the statistic point of view in that ball game, Adrian had 538 total yards compared to 355 total yards for Kalamazoo that afternoon. So Adrian really, if you just look at the stats only, as they always say, only stat that counts is the one that's on the scoreboard at the end of the ball game.
Yep.
But Adrian missed an extra point, and Kalamazoo able to go down and score and kick their extra point and sneak out a 31-30 victory over Adrian 2 weeks ago. And Adrian again today is going to look back at that one and say, boy, did we let one probably get away on that Saturday afternoon.
You're absolutely right. And again, that now Adrian 0-2 in the conference, along with Alma and Finlandia, as you see on the screen there. And you know, so there's not a lot of separation, even though you have 3 undefeated teams in the conference and 2 undefeated teams overall with Kalamazoo and Trine. Olivet and Albion right on their heels. Hope also 1-1, 3-2 overall. And again, I absolutely agree with you that Adrian's going to look back at a game like that. That's traditionally a pretty tough football team, and they're going to look at a tough loss like that, and they're going to say, you know, maybe that was kind of like Albion's loss to Adrian in recent years,
sure,
where you thought they might have been able to get on a run had they won that game, and they let that one slip away, and that was kind of, you know, a little bit of a downhill slide for the Brits. I think this might be a case where you let one slip like that, it could have the same effect for the Bulldogs.
You take a look at those standings, and they're a little deceiving because you have Kalamazoo on top, 2-0, 5-0 overall. Trine at 2-0, 5-0 overall, and rated in the top 20 again in D3 football again this week. Then you have Olivet, who is actually tied for the conference lead with a perfect 2-0 record, but they have one loss on their schedule so far this year, and they're 4-1. And then you get to Albion with that 1-1, and let's go back to that game last week. I got the chance to watch some of that ball game from the beach in Panama, in Pensacola, Florida, and watch you guys.
Rubbing it in.
Yeah, it was tough, man. You know, as I was putting the sun lotion on, you know, and reaching for that cold beverage out of that cooler and watching you guys suffer up here, that was just a battle last week, and it was a game that was a good one, back and forth all afternoon long. But unfortunately, it was the turnovers, and I guess it's a little unusual when you see a Brits team that has 4 interceptions and no touchdown passes on a Saturday afternoon, Jim.
Yeah, it was a 17-14 game at halftime, and Albion actually outscored Hope 10-6 in the third quarter. But again, it was those 4 interceptions by Kyle Thomas, and you and I talked about this a lot on the ride up here today, that in year number 1, his freshman year last year, he was more of a give a quick 1, maybe 2-person read, and then he'd take off if those first 2 reads weren't open. This year, he started to take that next step in his progress, and he's wanting to run, but he's holding himself back, and he's looking for the options. And because of the pressure that the Flying Dutchman brought, it forced him out of the pocket, and instead of running, he still tried to stay dedicated to throwing the ball. And when he got extra pressure and he didn't want to take off when he had opportunities to do so, he was forcing it into double coverage. And again, at least 2 of those 4 interceptions were just throws where he's trying to make a play and he's throwing it into double, maybe triple coverage. A couple of those interceptions sailed on him. But I think in every case of those 4, it was due to good quarterback pressure from the Hope defensive front. So you have to tip your hat to the defense in that case. But again, I think this is something where, as Kyle looks back on the end of this season, I think his junior and senior years, now he'll be able to put the 2 pieces together. He knows he can run. He's a very athletic and very fast quarterback and an excellent runner. And he's also developing a stronger arm and better pocket presence, and he's trusting his receivers more. So now the next step is knowing when it's okay to still tuck the ball down and run. And I think he'd like to have at least 2 of those 4 interceptions back, especially that last one, throwing off his back foot on the run, gets intercepted in the end zone, and that seals the deal. Well,
when you look at Kyle Thomas's numbers so far this year, he leads the MIAA in passing, 116 completions out of 187 tries. That's 62%. That's not a bad Saturday afternoon's work. Averaging almost 285 yards per game, 14 touchdowns, and the thing that is so glaring, and it got so bad after last week, 8 interceptions. He went into the game last week with 14 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, came out of that Saturday afternoon with a very difficult Hope team with 4 interceptions, no touchdowns, but still is the number 1 passer in the conference. And on the other side, to your point, he's in the top 10 rushers in the conference as well going into this thing this year. So as a sophomore, that is the one thing I'm sure that he is still learning and growing through and working on. When do I need to run? When do I need to throw? That does, to your point, come into with more clarity normally when you get to be a junior and a senior. And then all of a sudden, if he can figure out when is the right time to do those 2 things, that junior and senior year with some of the receivers and the runners that he's got on this football team are going to be good ones around here at Albion.
And I think also when you look at the way the running game is going, the running game has been very successful for the Britons so far this season. But the interesting thing to watch is they've had 3 and sometimes 4 different running backs that have been shuffled in, and not possession by possession, but more game by game. Coach Rundle and his staff have been a very game plan oriented team this year, where you look at Doug Freeman one week, it's Poor another week, or it's Serzo, or it's somebody else. There's somebody who has a good week leading up to that game, and then you don't even see them out for the first half in the next game. And you wonder, hey, are you going to ride the hot hand? No, it's a game plan specific setup. And so, they're very versatile in the running game. The next question I have is, will you see maybe more 2-back sets as the season progresses? You have 3, sometimes 4 different running backs who can produce on the ground catching passes. Now can you put maybe a pony-style offense in there, get 2 running backs, maybe throw one in motion into the slot, something like that. We'll start to see those little wrinkles as the season goes on too.
And you know, one name that has surprised me still to this day, and I guess if you could sit down with Coach over an iced tea sometime and you ask him about Pat Zarnecki, that was a young fellow that I expected to get many more touches this year than what he has. Obviously, Markel McCoy has stepped up and had a very good year here, the junior out of Oak Park. Cerzo has he had a good year last year. Is having a good year again this year.
He's your primary pass catching back. He's like your third down back. And so he's carved out his role.
He has. And you've got Doug Freeman, who's your workout horse back, who's going to carry that ball most of the reps in a Saturday afternoon when he's on the football field. And to that point, he's averaging almost 100 yards a game, 92.8 yards per game, 5 touchdowns. 71 carries for 464 yards on the season, so he's on his way towards 1,000 yards here this year. And I guess that probably is the answer. That's one of the reasons why number 11 doesn't touch the ball as much as what he did, or what we maybe have expected that he was going to do this year when we opened up the season here for 2018.
And that's the fascinating thing about this Albion offense is they're stacked at running back.
Yeah, they
have the big bruisers. They have the pass catching backs. They have all these different options on offense. Now it's a question of what do you do with all the toys that you have? What kind of creation can you put together? And right now still they've run a little bit more of a traditional offense in that the wide receivers are the wide receivers. They don't run a ton of jet sweeps. The tight ends are pretty much the tight ends. They're either going out for passes or they're blocking.
Sure.
So the running backs are pretty much just going to either run or catch out of the backfield. And so I would love to see maybe a few more of those plays where you get a couple of different running backs out there and you create some mismatch opportunities. Maybe you get a running back on a linebacker, and these guys have a lot of speed too. The linebackers from these other teams are pretty quick too, but I think I would always take a running back, swinging him out into the slot against a linebacker. I'd take that pretty much any day of the week.
Keeping it on the offensive side of the ball for the Britons here this afternoon. Marlon Martin's having a wonderful season. He's got 17 catches, 4 touchdowns already. And the big senior tight end, Brian Blanzy, with 21 catches, and he's got 3 touchdowns already this afternoon. The one thing that we did hear all week long is Brian was a little nicked up as the week goes on. So we're not sure exactly how he's going to be or how effective he might be here today. And if indeed that does become the case, then there's a gentleman by the name of Case who's sitting on that bench and has proved as a freshman he's quite capable of coming in on a Saturday afternoon and being a very solid contributor here in the MIAA.
Another big-bodied, sure-handed tight end. Another tough matchup for the defenses, and Darius has put up decent numbers so far this season, but obviously, like you said, hasn't been the focal point of the offense by any means. But if he is thrust into more of a starting role today, I think you might see a potential breakout game for Big 88.
And the one guy that we really can't leave off of our conversation list here today is Kobe Canfield. He is the number 5 receiver in the conference this year. He has already 20 catches for 300 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And a young fella who really, as a sophomore, has stepped up and played some really good football here for Coach this year.
Excellent job by Canfield so far this season. Has become a go-to player, especially on third downs. You're looking for guys like that. You're looking for guys like Thomas, and you're looking for Blanzy. And again, if Blanzy is out, Canfield's going to be another person who is going to be, one of the primary third down targets. So if the defense keys in on that, then that's just going to give those other players out there the opportunity to really step up and become that third down threat to help keep the drives alive.
Last but not least, on the offensive side of the ball, the Thomas connection has been a good one this year, Jimmy. Justin Thomas, the freshman, 6'2", 180 pounds, out of Wixom, Michigan. He already has 24 catches. He's number 4 in the conference right now, 310 yards, 3 touchdowns, and there just is that chemistry between the brothers.
And it showed again last week on some ridiculous passes to the sidelines and some diving catches. There's that connection that you develop when you're little, and I'd have to think that they played catch a lot in the backyard, and with other kids in the neighborhood and things like that growing up. that there's just that kind of connection that it takes a lot longer to develop with other players. And so when you develop that connection with your brother when you're little, that's one where, fortunately you're on the same team now and you're able to be on the field at the same time and you're able to kind of believe in each other and feed off each other. And so sometimes those ridiculous catches are going to be made by number one. That's just, it's so valuable to have that kind of player, that kind of connection on the offense.
And imagine this, Kyle Thomas, a sophomore, Justin Thomas, a freshman. So that pair is going to be something special here for the next 3 years around Albion, Michigan.
Absolutely. It's going to be, it's as they continue to work together, and then their friend circles, I'm sure, don't entirely overlap. So you're going to get other receivers, tight ends, running backs, things like that. The offenses will probably stick together, and then they're going to kind of mutually develop that connection with the other players. It's, the nucleus is going to continue to grow, and it's a young team. That's the best part. They should have won last week. The turnover bug kind of bit them. But this is a team that could very well be 5-0 right now, potentially looking at 6-0 if they play the way they're capable today. And it's still such a young team. So the nucleus is strong. It continues to grow. And, we look for exciting things the rest of this season. And the future is also very bright for the Britons. No
doubt about that. One last thing to talk about before we head down for the national anthem. Andrew Fabre, number 2 in the MIAA. He is 8 for 8 on his field goal attempts and 29 for 30 for extra points. With that, we send it down to the field for the national anthem. And the Eights doing the national anthem here this afternoon. We'll get some of their halftime show as well here once we get to that point. Now let's flip it over to the other side because the Hornets come into this ball game at 5-0, and whether you think maybe that's a suspect number or not, they still have won all 5 games, and a good reason for that is their senior quarterback, Zach Van Fossen, who is out of Beverly Hills, Michigan, and he is the number 3 passer in the conference, averaging 199 yards a game. He's 92 for 151, 995 yards for the season. He's basically averaging almost 6.5 yards per completion, 12 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. One of the things that stood out to me, Jimmy, though, he's gone down 9 times this year. Not fumbled the football all that much, not fumbled at all, not thrown too many interceptions, but he's found the turf at least twice every game that he's played so far this year.
I think with that particular offense, in addition to throwing 3 touchdowns, he also rushed for 65 yards and a score. So he is a pretty mobile quarterback. But I think what's going to happen with this Britons defense, if they can shut down the run today, and force him to throw, it's also going to put more momentum on the defense, especially if they throw some blitz packages in, and it's going to force him to scramble maybe in ways he does not want to scramble, and I think that's where the mistakes could start to happen. So if the Brits can stop the run, then they can build themselves more confidence and start putting more pressure on the quarterback, because then they become more of a one-dimensional team and maybe force some throws into take him out of his comfort zone a little. And we'll see, he's done a good job of protecting the ball so far this season, but how much pressure has he faced?
Yeah.
Maybe today's the day he needs to face a little more pressure, force him into some bad throws.
When we talk about that, the Brits have the ability to bring the pressure. They have the top 2 pass rushers in the conference going this year, Jim.
Yeah, excellent. excellent defense overall. They're forcing a lot of turnovers. They're getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They really made life difficult last week for the Flying Dutchman too. But again, the turnovers on offense really is what hurt the team. But the defense certainly did an excellent job, as they do every week.
Mitchell Aronson, the 6'5", 235-pound sophomore out of Zeeland, leading the conference this year with 6 sacks, 7.5 tackles for loss. And then number 2 on that list, Quentin Jackson, who has 4 sacks and 5.5 tackles for loss on the season. So those two fellows, along with some of their buddies, have found their way into that backfield quite a bit this year.
And there's something magical about that number 35.
Yeah, there is.
It seems like no matter who we've seen wear that number 35, they have been just an absolute wrecking machine on defense, and they've been all over the field. So there must be something magical about that jersey. Maybe you and I might want to stop to the sports shop here and see if we can get ourselves a couple of number 35 jerseys. I don't know what we do with them. I mean, it's not like we can run around and tackle people.
Wear them around the house there throughout the week or something like that.
My wife would probably want me to put it on and then just, get a whole bunch of cleaning done.
There you go.
So maybe I just have to put the powers to good use. But there is something magical about that number 35 for sure.
Now, one of the things that is a little bit concerning for your football team when you're talking about a defense is when one of your defensive backs leads your team in tackling. That's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Daryl McIntyre is the number 1 tackler for the Brits with 34. He's 10th in the conference so far this year. He's got an interception. But when defensive backs are the leading tackler, that could be one of two things. It can be a good thing because maybe you're blitzing him a lot. Maybe he's coming up and run support. Maybe he's spending a lot of time around the line of scrimmage. But if he's making tackles 20 yards down the field, that does not bode well for your Saturday afternoon.
And unfortunately, I think that's where the majority of those tackles are coming from. They're not coming from run support up at the line of scrimmage. They're coming from tackling down the field a little ways. On the flip side of that, Jim, one of the players on defense for Kalamazoo to really take a look at is Taylor Jackson. Last week had 8 total tackles and 3 sacks. So look at him as one of the players really to key in on. The offensive line is going to have to pick him up if he's coming on a blitz. Maybe the running back's going to have to stay back for blitz pickup. But he's a guy who you're definitely going to have to keep an eye on, maybe chip or double team him.
And 31, Jacob Frederick on their side, the number 1 tackler in the conference right now with 40. Has a sack, has 5.5 tackles for loss. He is their number 1, but number 5 in the conference right now overall. So another player that they're going to look at this afternoon and depend on quite a bit as well. I would have to believe that this week around Albion has been a little difficult for the offense. There was a lot of conversation, I am sure, about those 4 turnovers and letting one get away against a very good Hope football team last week. And now it's time to right the ship because the next 2 weeks you go on the road and you got to go to Adrian and Trine, which are not going to be 2 easy football games or 2 easy Saturday afternoons for the Britons.
No, especially that. I mean, the Adrian game.
There you go.
Yeah, Adrian is the kind of one of those rivalry games that, you always use the old sports cliche, you throw the records out the window. But both of those teams are going to be coming in very hungry in that game because they both lost games that they felt they should have won. And then that Trine game, man, the Trine Thunder, like you said, top 20 ranked team in D3, and they are the real deal. And that's, I think, for the foreseeable future. When you circle that game every year on the calendar, that's going to be one that if you didn't have a measuring stick game prior to that point, buddy, that's your measuring stick game. Well,
contrary to the announcement on the field here, the Brits won the toss and deferred, and then they went on to say that we would receive the football. It doesn't work quite that way, so the offense will be sitting as the defense will go out on the field. And defense this afternoon, defensive end Mitchell Aronson, defensive tackle Malik Bozell, defensive end David Akuma, outside linebackers Kamari Hurd, inside linebacker Levi Ladd, and Donovan Slates. And on the other side is Quentin Jackson, number 35 that you talked about. Rayshawn Robinson will play corner along with Daryl McIntyre, and Drew Schaefer and Josh Padelt will be the safeties here this afternoon. And on the other side, for the offensive side, the Hornets will have an offensive line that looks like this. Left tackle is Travis Coop. Left guard is Caleb Waldmiller. The center is Hunter Anglier. The right guard is Brad Bez, and the right tackle is Walker Chung. The receivers are Anthony Giovanni, he's number 4, and Dylan Paget, along with Ethan Kubik. And Kubik today has changed his number from 8 to 6 this afternoon. And Sam Matthews, as they'll have 4 wide receivers. The running back is Jared Pittman, and the quarterback, as we said, the senior, Zach Van Falsen. And it will be the Hornets today in their white with the orange numbers and lettering, and the black helmets with the orange trim. And the Brits will be in their gold and purple this afternoon as we get ready to kick this one off.
And as always, want to remind folks, wherever you're watching, of course I'd say if you're watching, you're obviously watching. Wherever you're watching around the country, around the world, send us an email at webcast@albion.edu. Let us know who you're rooting for. Go Brits. And let us know where you're watching.
Fabry will kick. This one's heading towards number 4, Giovanni. He'll catch it at the 12. Bring it towards the Brits sideline at the 25, across the 28, and then tumble down at about the 30, maybe the 31-yard line.
And return on a short kick right there. So you see the flags atop the goalpost right there, blowing kind of right to left a little bit. But the wind didn't look like it was going that direction in the kick. It looked like it kind of got held up there, Jim.
Yeah, it really did. 31-yard line. Great spot here for Van Falsen and his football team as they will come out and get things started. Great to have you with us here this afternoon. Looking forward to a football game with these two teams who are 4-1 and 5-0 respectively, as Pittman will line up in the backfield and he'll take a step up, heading right next to his quarterback in the pistol look on first down, and they'll throw on first down and complete it for a first down at the 41-yard line. That'll be Dylan Paget with the catch, the senior out of Westland, Michigan.
And this is the exact kind of look that Hope gave the Britons last week that gave them fits. Receivers would go about 8 to 10 yards down the field, find an open spot, and just pretty well stop. And that's all you need is that 9-10 yards. Keep moving the chains, and eventually the defense is facing the goal-to-go situation.
Triples again as they'll pitch this and go around the right end. And Brits right there to slow things down as Pittman tries to get around the right corner. Number 30, Levi Ladd there gets underneath the block, makes the tackle after only a short pickup there on first down.
See good run support coming on that pitch right there, and they didn't try to disguise it. The quarterback didn't try to get anywhere closer to the line of scrimmage before he lateraled. He just went ahead and pitched it to the right. Rayshawn
Robinson actually on the bottom of that pile, making that tackle coming up from his corner spot. So second down now and 8 for the Hornets, just underway here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Throw across the middle, and it's completed again, and it'll be close to a first down into Britain's territory. And I believe that will be enough. That is Dylan Paget again. So Paget with 2 catches here early, and 2 first down catches to go along with those 2 catches. It'll be first down and 10 now, Hornets inside the Britain's territory for the first time this afternoon.
Threw it in a pretty tight window right there, but again, he had a step in either direction, so he's able to catch him pretty well, sit down, get the first down.
Van Fossen again with Pittman, who decides to go right then left. Ends up on the left, triples down in front of us, a single on the top. They will hand the ball to Pittman. He'll find some room off of the left guard, and he'll be ahead to the 45-yard line. Give him about 3 before the Britons line finally knocks him down.
It's one of the things I was always amazed about, too, in those running plays where you get the crowd of people with both offense and defense, how those running backs can keep those legs churning despite what looks to be about 4 people trying to pull in you the opposite direction. So a lot of respect for the leg strength of those running backs.
Second down and again 7 here as the Kalamazoo offense in high gear early. Again, dink and dunk. Nothing real long so far, but they've been very effective. Kind of a low snap. Van Fossen drops back on his side of the 50. Now he'll throw it deep and long and out of bounds.
Beautiful
it was
catch.
Caught, but it was out of bounds by a good 3 or 4 yards. And the intended receiver, Jared Pittman, the running back, who'd come out of the backfield, it was 30 yards downfield.
And that's exactly what I would love to see a little bit more of for the Britons offense right there. You see a running back who's a tough cover, and they did, I believe, put a corner on him. But again, it's that speed. That's a tough matchup for either squad.
Robinson has Giovanni out here on the very end. Doubles on both sides this time for the Hornets, who have a third down and 7. Opening drive of this Saturday afternoon here on the Britain Sports Network. Van Fossen drops. He has time. Throws. Oh, it's intercepted, I believe.
Yes, sir.
38-yard line. Britt saw it coming, and that was number 24. Again, Rayshawn Robinson with wonderful man-to-man coverage. You can watch this one, Jimmy.
Never looked off his primary receiver. Floated it a little bit. again, that's that wind we talked about. Seeing it going right to left, and that one might get hung up just a little bit. Robinson got a good break on it, took the angle. Receiver probably should have stepped back into that throw. Instead, he stayed flat-footed. Robinson went to the ground with the ball. Turnover for the Britons.
So the Britons offense on the football field for the first time, and they will run it to get everything going. And a nice job by Freeman to take it around that left end and move it close to that 50-yard line. He'll pick up about 13 for the first down.
And they threw Poor in motion at the last second. And Poor, even though he's listed as a wide out at 5'8", really kind of built like another running back. So he almost had that pony look that we talked about in the pregame.
Freeman in the backfield, doubles top, doubles bottom. As the Brits look to get this offensive machine on its going right away, and they'll go to Freeman again, this time for a short gain into Hornets territory at about the 48. Freeman will get about 2.
And even though you said the Kalamazoo offense goes a little dink and dunk, this has the makings of kind of being a track meet kind of football game today, Jim.
Yeah, it really does, and it could be a whole lot of fun. I'm glad I had a little vacation time last week, huh?
Recharge those batteries.
Triples to the top. Thomas drops. He'll throw underneath, and this one's a little bit short as it bounces in front of Colin Poor, and it'll set up a third down now and about 8.
And that's a tough thing for a left-handed quarterback to roll to his left and have to throw across his body. That ball has to travel a good probably 25 yards just to get to the target, and he threw it low, so really if Poor caught it, he was probably going to a knee right where he got it anyway.
Triples on the top of the screen right now as the Britons have it third down and about 8. Thomas drops. He'll have some time. Now he's going to run out of time, and he's going to run out of the pocket. Round the corner, floats one up the field, and a little bit underthrown and incompleted. I think that was Martin, who was his intended receiver out there. Marlin had some pretty good coverage on him, and I don't think the defensive back really saw it coming. But
no, it was a purposely underthrown ball. The defender had his back to the play right there, but the defender also did a good job not making too much contact with the receiver. That could have been an easy penalty.
Turned around and got away from that flag being dropped on the carpet here.
Also saw the far side official might have taken the hat off, meaning one of the players stepped out of bounds. So if that was the offensive player, it could have been an illegal touch. So
the Brits will punt this one away.
Beautiful punt.
And hanging back and fair catching at the 10-yard line is Dylan Paget, and Paget will allow the Hornets to put this one in play right at the 10.
Something to file away in the consider this later. Remember who your punter is, a backup quarterback.
Sure.
They only rush 2 despite a bad snap. So just something to file away for later. Everybody pretty well turned around and wasn't even paying attention to the kick right there.
And you got to believe there's some coaches sitting up here on the rooftop here today that probably made note of that as well, Jim.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're at midfield like that. The risk isn't as great as if you're punting out of your own end zone.
So neither team able to do anything on their opening drive, had to punt, and now the Hornets will have their second opportunity. This time with a little poorer field position as the ball right there at the 10-yard line. Van Fossen in the pistol again. And again, Pittman to his now right as Pittman starts behind him and then decides which direction they're going. Pitch will come to Pittman around the corner, and he's got room. Up close to the 20-yard line before he gets tumbled out of bounds by Josh Padelt.
Hey, pulled an Odell Beckham.
Went right into the kicking net.
Hopefully he doesn't propose to the net now that he's fallen into it.
They'll say he got the 21. That'll be 11 yards and enough for a first down, and we'll move the sticks again. And
now the question is, he lost his helmet. Is he required to come out for a play, or was that more the result of going into the net? I think they're going to let him stay out there.
If you lose the helmet on the sideline, I think you're okay. But when you lose it on the field of play, I believe, is where they have their troubles. Triples to the top, single to the bottom right now for the Hornets. Van Fossen in the pistol, now looks at the sideline. Just underway, series number 2 here for the Hornets. And the Britons defense took the last one away. It ended that first drive on an interception. Let's see if we can get a turnover deep here in Hornets territory. And Fossen drops, looks to throw. Now he's being pressured. He'll roll to the right, and he's running out of time and real estate, and he'll be dropped right at the line of scrimmage. He got basically back to the line of scrimmage. Mitchell Aronson, the very first guy there. David Akuma, the other gentleman there to lay him on the ground. In fact, it was 94 instead. Kubit Miller, who made the tackle for the Brits. It'll be no gain, and it will set up second down and 10.
The last play, the option, they went ahead and laid a pop on the quarterback after he threw the pass, too, which I kind of like, because now it's basically just a toss, and you make yourself a runner at that point. So Nothing wrong with giving them a little pop as long as it's within the play.
Empty backfield now, 4 wide receivers on the visitor side, and they'll look that direction. And then they'll come back the other way, complete the pass, but I'll tell you what, a rude awakening as Josh Bedelt lights up number 6. That's Ethan Kubik, and Kubik is a big fella. He's 6'6", 185 pounds, and he's on his way out of the. He took a licking.
Calling himself out right now. Yep.
He's still ticking, but he did take a licking on that one. There's no doubt about that one. So it'll be 3rd down now and about 8 for the Hornets.
And obviously, as the receiver, you have your head back looking for the ball. You don't know what fun lies immediately ahead of you.
And Van Fossen will drop. He's pressured out of the pocket. Now he's going to run out of time. Now he's going to run out of real estate. They touch his knee down back around the 11-yard line. And a nice job by Bozell to make the tackle. Malik Bozell gets the sack, the junior out of Battle Creek. And the defense, again, flexes its muscle here this Saturday afternoon in Albion. And the 4th down
line of scrimmage, too.
Yeah, 4th down at about 20 here will cause the Hornets to kick this football away.
2 excellent defensive stands by the Britons so far to start this game. Offense was on the move, drive stalled near midfield. They should get really good starting field position this time, Jim.
Rayshawn Robinson standing at his midfield stripe waiting for this punt. And Connor Camarella is the punter. Good snap. He'll take a couple steps to his right and then kick it in a low line drive. Robinson's going to catch it at the 45, advance it to about the 39-yard line. So kind of a gutsy little play in amongst the Hornets that time for Robinson, but the Brits will have great field position as they'll mark him down at the 40-yard line. 1st down and 10 Brits.
I want to let folks know that for the 4th straight year, Albion will proudly host the Big Read in October. The Big Read is a project that aims to bring communities together through a shared reading experience. This year, they'll be reading X, the novel, which tells the story of Malcolm X's childhood and young adulthood. See albionbigread.org for more information. Got it all in.
Looks like Markel McCoy in the backfield right now to the left of Thomas, and they will hand the ball to McCoy. Nope, they'll fake it to him and throw it out here to Poor on the flat. Poor's on his way up the sideline, just walking that tightrope all the way down to about the 23-yard line.
And Jim, I have to, from up here in the booth, it's difficult depth perception-wise to see how much room they have, but it seems like they just have fractions of an inch to keep those feet in bounds, and they do such a great job.
Triples go to the top, single to the bottom. Again, McCoy, the running back, this time he'll have the football, and he'll have room off the left side, inside the 20, down to about the 19, maybe the 18.
And McCoy, Jim, I believe, was the running back who had, like 190 yards a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then he figured he'd be the feature back. That's what I was talking about in the pregame. I couldn't remember the player off the top of my head. It was virtually a non-factor last week for a while. So it's a lot of depth at the running back position.
Good news is Blanzy is playing in the slot down here, and they will throw the ball to Poor. And unfortunately, a block that was kind of missed by Canfield allowed the tackle to be made for just a short gain, and that will set up now a 3rd down for the Britons.
Good open field tackle by 25 Jake Osen right there. The sophomore from Livonia, Michigan, gets right up. Good stop, getting him by the feet, not allowing any YAC.
3rd down and a short 5 for the Britons right now. Doubles to the top and the bottom again. McCoy the only back in the backfield. Thomas drops. He has time. Steps up into the pocket, looks downfield. Now he's going to run out of time, and it'll be dropped at the 20-yard line. And again, Jim, I think going back to your point from last week, he had tons of room in front of him if he would have decided he wanted to take off immediately and head up the football field.
Yeah, had that blitzing backer coming in. But again, that's the next step. And that's a hard thing to do because you got to think you have your teammates, you have your coaches telling you, stay in, look for the guy, stay in, trust your receivers. And so now you're, overcorrecting to that side. And so eventually you find that middle.
Fabry to try a field goal, and he's got this one on its way, and it looks like it's good. He will stay perfect on the season as he hits one from about 33 yards. And the 3 points makes it a Brits 3-0 lead as Andrew Fabry is now 9 for 9 on the season.
It's good to have that almost automatic weapon, Andrew Fabry, knocking that 3 points in. I want to say hi to Tamiko Brown, says, my son is Doug Freeman, just wanted to wish him and the team good luck. So thank you so much for tuning in, and it's great to hear from everybody. I want to remind you again, drop us an email at webcast@albion.edu and let us know where you're watching. If you are an Albion College graduate, maybe let us know what year you graduated. If you're a former athlete or maybe a former football player, let us know what year you played and all that good stuff. We want to say hi to you on the air.
So the Brits will kick this one off after a nice little quick drive that allows them to put 3 points on the scoreboard. So Andre Fabry, who just hit that 33-yarder, will now kick things back to the Hope Hornets. There you go, the Kalamazoo Hornets. I was watching Hope on the beach last week, remember that? Have I brought that up recently enough here for you?
Where were you?
Giovanni with the football at the 15-yard line, and Giovanni finds the turf here at the 16-yard line after a nice tackle there by Noah Folks.
So far, Van Fossing 3 of 5, 21 yards in that interception. Jared Pittman 3 carries for 16 yards, and Dylan Pageant has 2 catches for 19 yards for Kalamazoo.
Give that one to Derek Craig, 19. Folks at now number 8 instead of 19. So nice job by him, by Craig on the stop. First down now and 10 for the Hornets as they find themselves down here for the first time this afternoon, 3-0, and again backed up in their end. And Falson has the football. He's throwing in a hurry. Oh, what a big hit at the 23-yard line. Man, I'll tell you what, Josh Padelt has hit a couple of folks, and you watch this replay.
That's Raekwon Castello, number 23, who probably wishes that he just let that one fall. I mean, he got yards. He got a nice 7-yard gain, but boy, oh boy, he paid the price on that one.
So second down and 3 now for the Hornets, but you're going to have to earn your keep if you're coming across the middle here this afternoon.
Back in the slot on the left side, so.
Triples to the top. They'll go to the running game, and it's the quarterback who has a nice fake, and on the option carries it out across the 30-yard line, gets tumbled out of bounds in front of the Britain's bench. He'll get the 31. That's enough for the first down.
That was a beautiful fake right there.
Yeah, and you notice the defensive lineman just absolutely ran right by Van Fossen. Had an opportunity if he just reached out and grabbed him there if he knew he had the ball. But that was such a nice fake that he was definitely following Pittman into the hole on the left side of the line.
And that's the thing is when those two players are so close, maybe just reach out and try to grab them both.
Get them both. First down and 10, 5:28 to play here, opening quarter. Brits up 3-0. Van Fossen this time looked on the top and then just pulled it back down. I don't think that was a running play.
No.
I think that was a quick play that was not open. And Van Fossen plays for that as he goes down about 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
I think he was going to try a swing pass to Pittman, but then somebody came up and read that play very well and wasn't going to give him a lane, so he pulled down thinking that didn't want somebody to jump the pattern again, because if that one gets intercepted, that's going to the house.
Up on the top side of the screen, you've got Sam Matthews all by himself. Triples down here on the bottom. The end guy is Giovanni.
Look for single coverage on the opposite side, though, or the running back coming out of the backfield going, well, no, we put him in motion, so we get a false start instead.
Pittman came this way, but the right guard made a little move, and the flag came out immediately. Instead of second down now at about 3, it's be second down and 8. As that ball will move inside the 25 to the 24-yard line.
Going to run a classic overload to one side right there, run your strong side. Anytime they do that, though, is where I always look for a fake to that side, then look for your single coverage on the opposite side, maybe put one up and see if your guy can make a play in open space.
Kubik, the 6'6" wide receiver in the slot here on the Hornets side. Triples on that side as Van Fossen will roll that way. Here comes the heat, and he's going down. Oh, man, he took a look behind him and said, here comes Mitchell Aronson, and by that time he had a guy in front of him that took him out in front. Let's see who the guy was on the top side there,
95.
Jim.
That's Akama.
There you go. He cut off the lane there, and that allowed then Aronson to track him down.
Penalty, automatic first down. Number 30.
So Levi Ladd will get the penalty, and instead of this being 4th down and a mile, it'll end up being 1st and 10 now for the Hornets, who have had all kinds of problems with this Britain's defense so far this afternoon.
We won't even get them back to the original line of scrimmage, which is the most depressing part of all of that. So you're going to have to move the chain gang back to mark the first down, but unfortunately it is a first down, like you said, Jim. Defense did everything you asked of it on those last 3 plays, but that penalty mitigates all of it.
Again, Pittman, the running back, he'll move to the left here of Van Fossen. Snap will be low. They'll fake the ball. Now they give the ball to Pittman, and he's coming around the right end. Nice gain up across the 35-yard line. So he'll get 5, almost 6 on that first down run. And what should have been a punt ends up being a nice first down run here for the Hornets.
And the ball on plus side of the 50 for the Britons as well, because they were going nowhere fast on that drive, and the wind has picked up in intensity a little bit. Still 3.5 to play in quarter number 1 with the Brits leading 3-0.
New guy, C.J. Foster now the running back, and they will toss it to Foster, and Foster will have enough for the first down as he's across the 40-yard line and out of bounds.
Well-designed play right there, sending C.J. Foster in motion. The pass goes to Raekwon Castello coming out of the backfield. So you had that two-back look in there, sent Castello in motion, then you sent big 24 C.J. Foster out to block ahead of him. So well-designed play.
Turn and hand off, and this time it will be Foster who will run across the 45 to the 46. And that'll be about 3 yards, almost 4 for the Hornets on first down. Heading towards the end of the first quarter in what has been a very quick quarter number 1 here in Albion on a Saturday afternoon. What a beautiful day. It is fall, there's no doubt. We've got a 5 bunch up on the visitor side right now. Look at this thing. You don't see this very often. How's that? Empty backfield for Fossian. Going to throw that thing behind that crowd. It'll go to Foster, and Foster will be very close to the first down, but they're going to say his knee touched at the 50.
Lost his footing.
So he is going to be about 2 yards short, and it will bring up a very interesting
definitely lost
spot
his
there
footing
for him.
in the
Yep, there you go.
That was a good call.
So third down now and about 2 here for the Hornets. Right at midfield stripe. Brits defense really needs to come up with a big play right now. Doubles top and bottom. Turn. Fake. Quarterback has it, and he dives ahead for enough for the first down. They're going to give him the 47-yard line. And that'll be about 3 yards and a first down.
So the gift that was the face mask kept this drive alive, and now they are on the Albion side of the 50 at about the 47-yard line with a first down.
So it's first down and 10 here for the Hornets. And again, a single running back in the backfield. Van Fossen comes up and talks to the offensive line, resets everything.
See the defense making its adjustment too.
Pitches around the corner comes Pittman, and he is going to absolutely be met right at the line of scrimmage. Darryl McIntyre, as we said, the leading tackler for the Brits. That time he came up from his defensive back spot and actually caused a loss of about 2.
And again, did you see after the pitch, Quentin Jackson just walks up and gives the quarterback a nice 2 forearm pop right in the chest. If you want to run, I'll treat you like a runner. That's cool.
Yeah, no, welcome.
You're one of the 11 on the field. You know, you're allowed to be contacted too.
Welcome to Albion here on this Saturday afternoon, huh? 54 ticks and counting here in this first quarter.
If you're running an option offense, the quarterback needs to know that you're giving yourself up as a runner at that point. You're going to expect to take some contact.
He is fair game. He is a runner. There's no doubt about that. And Fossen drops. Pockets collapsing. He's going down again as the Britons have a little meeting in the backfield one more time. And again, Mitchell Aronson, one of those guys on that sack as he comes around that corner.
He tripped actually over his own lineman right there, Jim.
Yep, 56 it looked like was the guy that actually made the tackle.
Yep, 66 Travis.
There you go.
Their offensive lineman got his feet tangled up with the quarterback trying to roll, but again, you had 3 Britons just waiting.
Well, it looks like the Hornets are going to be happy to allow this clock to run down to triple zeros in the first quarter, as we will end one quarter of play with the Brits defense being very dominant this afternoon.
First quarter.
And the Britons, thanks to a 33-yard field goal by Andre Fabre, are up 3-0 at the end of 1 here on a Saturday afternoon of football on the Britain Sports Network. Let's see if we can go around
They gave me Vicodin after my knee surgery. They kept prescribing it, so I kept taking it. I didn't know it would be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Jim, around the MIAA right now, I don't think it's any secret. Hope up easily 28-0 over Finlandia in the first quarter. And Trine and Olivet tied at 0 here as we open up this football game. No stats up there right at this point. It's a 1 o'clock game, but on their live stats, they do not have any stats to report at this point in time, but Hope off to an early lead over Finlandia, 28-0. And Fowson will take the snap and roll to his right, trying to throw this ball down the field, and it's deep and it's over everybody's head. And thankfully, because I'll tell you, Anthony Giovanni had gotten behind the defensive backfield back around the 20-yard line. That ball, if it was on the money, that would have been a tough way to start quarter number 2 here this afternoon.
We have an email from Ray Mass's family in Farmington, Michigan. Marco sends a message, and want to thank Marco for watching and everybody for tuning in on the Britain Sports Network. Also, Milton Evans, Milton and Sherry in Granite Quarry, North Carolina, cheering for the Brittenson player 59, Grant Evans. So we appreciate you tuning in from Granite Quarry, North Carolina.
4th down now and a whole bunch here for the Hornets, and they will kick this away, and Rayshawn Robinson will stand at his 20 and wait for this punt. Sun kind of goes in and out today, Jim, and that sun, if it's out, is tough to deal with. Line drive that forces Robinson all the way back to the 8-yard line. Puts his hand on the ground, and then he comes back towards the center of the field. He'll get to the 15, maybe the 17 before he goes down. But, man, that was quite a bit of running right there for Rayshawn. Look at that.
He's fortunate that his knee didn't touch back there at the 5-yard line, because he had the hand and almost the elbow down, and the knee almost went down too. Good tough running after contact right there. Was almost able to bring it back out to the 20.
We never set the offense. It's Jones, Jimbarski, Barrett, Boucher, and McKinney, the offensive line. Blanzy, the tight end this afternoon. Freeman, the running back. Martin, Canfield, Poor, the wide receivers that open things up. And Kyle Thomas, again, the quarterback this afternoon for the Brits. And on the other side, Piet, Copeland, Martin are the defensive linemen. Stockwell, Jackson, Frederick, Chantres, the linebackers, Moore, Ford, Satnewski, and Osen, the defensive backs, as Thomas calls his own number, steps out of one tackle, gets across the 20 to about the 22-yard line. We apologize for not giving you the lineups, but this thing moves so quick most of the time, it's kind of hard to get that many names out in the amount of time that you have before the Brits are pulling the trigger at the line of scrimmage again.
You did a pretty good job there, Tim.
2nd down and 7. That's a vacation time. You know, that's all. Thomas fakes out the oncoming rush and then is forced to throw that one out of bounds, as he had a whole lot of heat coming his way. And on that situation, it turned out to be number 5, Jacob Chantres, that we were talking about. Young fella who has 29 tackles on the year, 3 sacks. 4.5 tackles for a loss, and he was looking for sack number 4 on that one.
And their game plan is very similar to what the Britons defense game plan is. Get up the middle and pressure the quarterback.
Here comes the rush. Thomas will roll out. He's got plenty of room. Let's see if he'll take off this time, and he will get around Chantres, and then he'll step out of bounds at the 33-yard line, and there you go. That was perfect.
Have a couple hundred coaches, I think, sitting right in front of us in the bleachers here. Everybody stands up in unison and yells, "Run!"
Go. One-on-one there with a defensive back, and basically you're going to win that one 9 out of 10 times.
At least get far enough to move the chains, which was what Thomas did. Good run for the 1st down.
1st down puts the Brits back in control here. 1st down and 10. Tossed out brother to brother, and Thomas makes the first guy miss, and it'll be spun out of bounds at the 41-yard line. Kyle Thomas hits Justin Thomas for their first connection of the afternoon.
A spin to the outside. Gets just enough for the first. Want to say hi to Temple Walker. Doug Freeman's on. It's a great game so far, guys. Go Brits.
Brits right now with only 3 first downs. Well, that would be 4 and 5 now. 5 first downs compared to 7 for Kalamazoo early on. So the Brits offense really needs to get something rolling here in this drive to open up this 2nd quarter. Handoff goes to Freeman. Freeman gets hit just as he takes the football and will be dropped at the line of scrimmage.
You see Freeman's left foot there. He has a lot of tape around that left ankle and shoe, so you wonder if maybe that's part of why he was more of a platoon last week, but you can see the significant wrapping around that left foot.
Freeman in again. H back to the right, and I'm not sure whether that's McCoy, I believe, here in the slot over here. Handoff. Freeman. Freeman has a little better room as they'll get to the 45-yard line, heading straight up the middle.
And even if Freeman isn't 100%, he's such a strong player, such a strong lower body that even if he isn't able to make guys miss, he just run right over him.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Blanzy in the slot here on the home side. Canfield is the wide receiver on the home side. Thomas drops in to look this direction. And the ball going to Case, and Case never turned around. So I'm not sure whether Darius Case didn't understand that he was the intended target on that pass, because he really never disengaged from the block at the line of scrimmage. And Thomas, with some heat, had to get rid of that football, and that'll set up a 4th down now, and the Brits will have to kick away.
In a strange way, though, the only thing I think that saved that from being an interception was the fact that Case was blocking downfield.
Yeah, there you go.
Because Jacob Chantris, number 5, was in coverage, and he almost fought out of that block to get the pick.
Paget, the only guy deep. Here comes the rush. They're coming in a hurry. This kick will bounce at the 28-yard line and then come backwards to the 30-yard line. So a very short kick of about 30 yards for the Britons there, and it'll be 1st down and 10 Kalamazoo.
Wind picking up a little bit on that kick, and normally explosive leg kind of got held up a little bit in the wind right there, pushed that one back. So that ball pretty well died at the 30.
One of the questions next year, I know we don't want to get that far down the road yet, but the kicking game that we've enjoyed for the last 4 years,
complete turnover,
all graduates this year. So next year, punter and kicker both will have to be replaced, and it will be interesting to see how you replace a couple of young fellows that have done so well since their freshman season, because they came in and really weren't freshmen, Jim. They did a nice job. Quarterback fakes that jet sweep and comes right up the middle. He'll get tumbled down there by the Britons, but not before he gets about 6, almost 7 yards on that opening play. They'll mark him at the 36. They'll say it's 2nd down and about 4. So Van Fossen doing a really nice job with his legs here early on to keep a few drives going. Turn, hand the football to 24, C.J. Foster. Foster gets around the corner for the 1st down. Finally gets knocked down close to the 45-yard line, and that'll be 1st and 10 Hornets again. And this Hornets offense has played pretty well, Jim. They just have not been able to convert at the end. They seem to go and then sputter.
Well, it's all about stopping the run right now, because the passing game hasn't been terribly effective for the Hornets, but the running game, once it starts going, then it opens everything else up, cuts the pressure away from the quarterback, and it makes life a little easier for you.
Kalamazoo's had more than double the time of possession here early, as Van Fossen again thought it was worked so well the last time that he tried again, and Van Fossen gets knocked down after just a short pickup on this time. But they have 12 minutes and 15 seconds to 5.5 minutes for the Brits at this point in time time of possession, and it's a little bit behind, but it's pretty darn close, and it's more than 2 to 1. So that offense that the Brits have had that has been so high-powered early has kind of sputtered last week, and now is starting to still try to find its way here this afternoon. And Fossian picks up the low snap, throws a nice pass out to number 3, Dylan Paget, but Paget had to worry about the sideline, took his eye off the ball, and then lost that football as you watch the replay.
Kind of got held up a little bit, and I think you see the sideline close, and you maybe get a little bit of sun in your eyes looking back too. So
looked down for where he had to put his feet, and by the time he did that, the ball was nowhere to be found. Halftime again, we'll have the British Eights there this afternoon. We also have a nice piece to share with you about what's going on around the college. They're on fall break right at this point in time here. And Fossian drops, throws across the middle. Caught, that's that big guy, Kubik, that makes the catch inside Britain's territory, inside the 40, down to about the 37-yard line. And he needed all 6'6" there to pull this one in. As you see that replay, nice job. Decent coverage there, 17-yard pickup. Rayshawn Robinson and Jacob Clark, both of them close, but the big fella able to shield them off and pull down the reception. Here they come around the right corner. That's Jared Pittman, and Pittman will get some room as he crosses the 33 down to about the 32-yard line, so he'll get almost 4.
Going to bring John Bolello into the conversation.
Oh, Big John! I forgot. We got John on the sideline. John was down at the soccer game today, and we do need to bring John into our conversation here this afternoon. Sorry about that, John. They're trying to retrain me this afternoon here after being gone last week. So it'll be 2nd down now after that 4-yard pickup on 1st down. And Fossey in the backfield, moving those arms around. He'll hand that football again off to Pittman, and Pittman will come around the left end for a 1st down as he'll cross the 25 to the 24. John, let's bring you in here real quick, man. So far, the offense has been a little bit of a sputter. What's going on down there?
Kalamazoo first down.
And we've got a situation here where we have no sound here for John right now, but we'll get to him. How's that? We scared him a little bit, I think. First down now and 10 at the 25-yard line here for the Hornets from Kalamazoo. They'll put triples to the top, single here to the bottom. And they'll turn and fake that football off to Foster. And Fossian will keep the football, and he will pick up a couple as he'll get to the 21-yard line and give him 4. So it'll now be second down and about 6 here for Kalamazoo.
Offense really clicking right now. The Brits defense needs a stop, maybe needs a turnover.
Foster, the sophomore from Battle Creek, now to the right of his quarterback, and he'll roll that way. Throw the ball into the corner of the end zone, a little bit too tall, heading for Ethan Kubik, the 6'6" senior out of Allen Park, and that one thrown over his head.
Well-designed play right there. Rolled to the opposite side of Big 91 Mitchell Arnson, Jim, and I think that'd be running away from him as much as I could.
I run away from him just looking at him from up here. I'd run if he starts to take a step towards the press box. I'd go running. So it'll be third down and 6, 8:27 to play in the opening half. Britain's on top 3-0.
You could see the chess game. They move Arnson now to the left side, so if he's going to roll that way again, he's going to meet him. I'll catch up with you.
And they put Paget in motion towards that top of that screen, and here comes Arnson. And they'll go right across the middle to Kubik. The big fella has the completion and the first down as he's inside the 15 at about the 14-yard line. They'll move the sticks again.
Get them all the way down to the 11, and a good job not only holding on there, but fighting through the tackles. And you had at least 2 Brits trying to rip that ball out at the end. That's why they run those ball security drills during the preseason and during the week leading up. He had a lot of guys trying to rip that ball out, so he did a great job holding on.
First and 10, they actually mark him at the 12. So they can get a first down yet before scoring a touchdown. And Brits like to keep them to at least a field goal attempt if they can. Handoff, sweep, right side, short yardage. That's, I believe, Foster again.
See a very slow developing play. Defense kept forcing him to stretch it outside. He was finally able to turn it upfield, but for a very modest gain as they get to about the 10.
Pittman, the running back, and land on the tackle. And the second down now after a 2-yard pickup for the Kalamazoo Hornets. John's come up here where it's nice and warm with us right now. Grab that mic, John. How's that? Second down now. 7:12 to play, opening half. Kubik goes in motion to the right side. Van Fousten going to throw it that way. And I'm not sure whether that was tipped away at the very end. And if it was a really nice job there in that defensive secondary. Look at this thing. Thrown down, and
Josh Padel gets that right hand in there just barely.
If he didn't get it, he at least made Kubik think about it. It did hit Kubik's hands there on that replay, as you can see. But it kind of surprised him, I believe, and it ends up being third down now and 8.
For what it's worth, Greg Kearns, their kicker, 7 of 8 this season on field goals with a long of 40, so they're well within his range. This would be a 27-yarder if they weren't able to move the ball again.
And the
Charge timeout, Kalamazoo. They're first of the half.
They'll take a timeout. John, I'll tell you what, buddy, last week you got your chance to get up here in the booth and do a little football. How was that?
Actually not bad. I'm not as good of a speaker as I thought I would have been. But it was good. It was good. Like I told Jim, it's going to be good for the resume. So.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Well, and again, until you get up here and do it that first time, you don't know exactly what's ahead of you. It's just like playing lacrosse, isn't it, huh?
Right.
Until you get out on the field and actually do it that first time, it makes it a little difficult. What were you seeing down on the sideline before we brought you back up here today? I mean, what's up with the Brits? The offense seems to sputter a little bit today.
Yeah, they don't seem as explosive as they have in the games prior, but I mean, I need to watch more. Obviously, I was just down there for about a couple minutes. I can't tell right now, but one thing that I did notice which was good was Kyle Thomas throwing the ball away under pressure. I know he likes to, make plays out of everything. Looks like if he can be a little smarter with the ball, that'll be good in the long run.
Van Fossen in the pistol. He'll send Pittman to his right. see if he'll look back for him. He's got plenty of time in the backfield. Now he's going to run out of time, and he's going to get away from the first tackle and be able to throw this one out of bounds. And since he was got the ball past the line of scrimmage, he was able to save him a little bit from that grounding call. And again, it was Aronson that was all over him. Looked like he had an opportunity. Look at this one right here. Bozell had him and then let him out of his grasp. If he could have grabbed him right there at the 25, that would have made an interesting field goal kick, because that would have been about a 42, 43-yarder. Instead, a chip shot right now from the 17. So this will be a 27-yard try for Greg Kearns. And as you said, Jimmy, 7 out of 8 here on the season so far. Good snap, good placement. Kick is just drilled right through those uprights, and we've got a 3-3 tie here in Albion on a beautiful fall Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I don't doubt that, 40, 42 probably still in his wheelhouse. But, yeah, I would have liked to have seen a 42-yard attempt right there after that quarterback pressure. But, the Britons defense rose to the challenge when they needed to and held them to 3. Kalamazoo's offense really's had a couple of nice drives. That's the first time they've had a red zone opportunity, I believe. So, the Britons offense needs, I know they run a hurry up, so they're not out in the field a whole lot typically, but they need a sustained drive here, and they need to put hopefully 7 on the board going into the half.
John, you got a score from us from around the conference right now?
Yeah, live stats are now working.
There you go.
The Shrine game. Olivet is up 21-7.
Wow.
Shrine right at the beginning of the second quarter. So
possible upset in the making.
Yeah, there you go. That could be a major upset in the making right there. A lot of heads
just turned in the booth when he said that too.
No doubt about that. Everybody around here said, "Holy smokes!" Olivet at 2-0 also, and 4-1 on the season. So you've got 2 teams in Olivet and Kalamazoo that have been teams that have been in the bottom half of this division here since we've been watching the MIAA, who are trying to fight their way to the top. And what a big win that would be if they get that one done at Trine. 11-yard line. Here we go. Up across the 35 to about the 40-yard line. And that is Isaiah Gibson, I believe was Gibson number 6 that brought that up. Or was that
number 6? Yep. And as I always do, unfortunately, during a big return, I immediately look to the left to see if there were any flags on the field, because unfortunately, these days in football, when you get a good return, it comes at the expense of a penalty.
Gibson's 30-yard return sets the Brits up nicely at the 40-yard line, 1st down and 10. As the Britons offense now needs to kind of shake themselves awake here this afternoon and start scoring some points. This Kalamazoo defense has been up to the task here early. Little pass goes to Gibson, hit him in the numbers, and falls incomplete.
Yep.
It was definitely a forward pass, and the Kalamazoo Hornets.
And ruled incomplete.
Yep. See,
boy, that was close, though.
It is close, but if you take a look where he was at, the ball hit him on the 6, and Thomas was standing on the back side of the 7, so it was only about a yard, but it was definitely a forward pass and an incompleted pass, as the Britons will keep the football on its 2nd down now and 10. This one is caught by Thomas. Justin Thomas was the catch and the spin at the 45-yard line. He'll step out of bounds at about the 46, so that'll bring a 3rd down now for the Britons, and a good solid 5 yards for the 1st down.
Have to credit the Hornets, though, on that last play, Jim, despite the fact that it was an incomplete forward pass. They had the wherewithal to pounce on that one, just in case they did rule it a lateral.
Well, you got to say that Coach Zorbo's football team this year is playing some much better football here early. Thomas running out of room, and he's going to go down at the 35-yard line. Couldn't find anybody open down the field, and that cost him, as getting in on the play is Kareem Wallace. And Wallace makes the tackle for a big loss. Look at this. Thomas really had no place to go, no place to escape to at that point in time. He had no running lane up that left side.
And you were outside the tackle box, so that's another one of those progression learning steps is nobody's open. Your internal clock is, already buzzing in its time. You just throw that one away.
So 4th down, as the Britons Blanzy will kick this one away. Big, tall hanger at the 25-yard line. Padette will make a fair catch at about the 26. And it will be 1st down and 10 there for the Hornets after a drive the last time that netted them 3 points.
The 17th annual Turkey Trot, organized by Albion's Alpha Psi Delta sorority to support Autism Speaks, is scheduled for Sunday, October 21st at Victory Park. Race day registration for the 5K event is just $10.
So Dylan Paget with the nice catch, and the fair catch sets up a first down and 10 here for the Hornets with 5:25 to play in the first half. This has been a very quick football game, Jimbo. This is we're going to be home early this afternoon if it keeps going this way.
It's been a track beat, but it's been more like a relay.
Yeah, it has been.
We just keep handing the baton off. It's like we never finish.
Handoff goes to the running back, Pittman, and Pittman thought he had a hole, then that hole stopped and closed in on him, and he got about a yard, maybe yard and a half, where they're going to spot him, maybe 2.
And I know they mark forward progress on a play like that, but if he continues to run and gets pushed back and then keeps running, you wish they'd mark him where the play was finished, because really he's still trying to advance. So really, what is forward progress at that point? He's still trying to run forward.
Pittman gets 2 on that first down run. Second down and 8. 4:50 and counting here in this first half. They'll go to Pittman again. He'll try the other way, and he goes right up the middle of the football field to the 30 before he is knocked down.
2, maybe 3 on that play brings up a 3rd and mid-range, maybe 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5.
Bozell with the tackle for the Britons there. It'll be 3rd down and 5. Britons would like to get off the field right now and give their offense another shot at this with some good field position. 4:19 and counting in the opening half, 3-3 if you just tuned in. Both teams with field goals this afternoon, and that's it.
A very deliberate offense by the Comets, Jim, so they're certainly in no hurry despite having 2 timeouts. They're perfectly comfortable running the play clock down.
Brits have all their timeouts if they need them. Ball goes across the middle, and this was tipped away and then caught.
That was caught.
Oh, my gosh. Nice job by the Brits to be able to get in there and tip that football away, and then Sam Matthews is able to corral that tip that was headed for Kubik. Looked like it was going to be an incompleted pass, and the 4th down play that we were looking for was on its way. But that tipped football ends up in Matthews' hand, and instead it's a first down and 10 now for the Kalamazoo Hornets.
Unbelievable concentration. Going to the ground, happens to just look up and see that ball and corrals it for a big first down.
3.5 to play now in this opening half. Britons would still like to get in this locker room, I'm sure, with no worse than a tie, as we have the first laundry of the afternoon here on that play. And I'll tell you what, that's been a pretty clean football game so far. You had the face mask on the Brits.
Hopefully this is a hold against the offense. And it's marked at about the 49, 48-yard line. So, and I see the offense walking back, so that's a positive sign for the Britons fans. This mark off from about the 48, a hold will mark it back to the 38.
Holding offense, number 70. That's a 10-yard penalty. First down.
John down on the sideline. John, I tell you what, what is the team like right now? They're playing a little bit sluggish. Is it kind of sluggish on the sideline here this afternoon too? I have a little problem with the antenna right now, I think, on John's mic, but we'll figure this whole thing out. 3:13 to play in the half. Hornets with the football. Quarterback going to keep, and he's got a lot of room midfield into Britons' territory at the 40-yard line. So not only did he get the yardage he needed to make up that on that penalty, but he got enough for another first down, as he'll go for about 22 yards, and the ends up at the 40. Now mark it at the 38-yard line, 39-yard line, first down and 10. Wow.
Takes a 2-step drop. The defense just completely disappears.
Little quarterback draw, and I believe that was designed that way. They opened up the center of that football field. Everybody else dropped back into coverage. And I don't think even Zach Van Falzien even thought he was going to have that much room in the pocket. Has times, throws it on the money. Completed to Paget and out of bounds inside the 20 at the 18-yard line.
Watch the pocket presence here. Hangs in, delivers a strike. He even gets 2 feet down. So that would have been good in the on Sunday afternoon as well.
So Kalamazoo looking to try to add some points here before this half is over. 2:14 to play. They have the ball first and 10. 19-yard line of the Britons.
In the red zone and certainly within field goal range to perhaps give them the lead at the end of the first half.
We wondered coming over here today, 5-0 Kalamazoo, is that real? The competition they've had has not been all that spectacular, but boy, so far this afternoon, They're doing pretty well. Van Fosse calls his own number this time, runs into some troubles in the backfield.
Remember we mentioned that last year when Trine came to town.
Yeah, no doubt.
And we said, well, they haven't played anybody and they were undefeated. So we'll see. And so far in this first half, we talked about how Kalamazoo in 4 of their 5 wins so far had limited their opponents to 7 points. The defense is
pretty solid.
Pretty solid.
Levi Ladd made the tackle for the Brits on that last stop. Minute and 24, the clock is stopped and now running again. That's all that's left here in this first half. Kubik makes a little bit of a run, and now we got everybody moving, and we do have flags on the field. And I think he's got his hands out wondering exactly what's going on, but I believe.
Is that Zag on number 6?
Yeah, I believe it was Ethan Kubik.
Oh, Kubik, okay.
Because Kubik went from 80 to 6 here today.
That's right. And went in motion right there and kind of took a step forward before he started side shuffling. And I think that's, they're going to say, was he just in motion? Because it looked like he took a step forward before he started sidestepping.
So we'll see what happens here. The official's still talking things over. And the march off, I believe, will go against the Hornets.
Offense, number 6. That's a 5-yard penalty. Second down.
I think my favorite part of that entire discussion was that the back judge wanted to be so much a part of the conversation that he ran in from about the 10-yard line just to be part of that 3-second conference. Sorry I'm late, guys. Sorry I'm late. Traffic was bad.
Second down now and 18 for the Hornets.
I don't blame him, though. I mean, look how far he is
Yeah,
from
he's
the line
clear
of
back.
scrimmage.
There's nobody back here.
He has to run 30 yards
He's
just
closer
to, be
to get a
part
hot
of the
dog down there
Exactly.
than he is to be at the play.
Poor guy. Let him be part of the group.
Pittman again, the running back to the right here of the quarterback. Snap comes and the pitch to Pittman around the right corner. And he will get hit and then not dropped. Got out of the tackle initially and went up the field for an extra yard or two. So Slates was the guy that hit him first. The gain will be about 5. It'll set up a 3rd and 13 now for the Hornets.
Remember the ills of last season on defense, though, Jim. Stick but no rat.
Yeah,
that's what you had right there. You had another player come in and just wanted to lower the boom, but didn't want to use those 2 arms to wrap up right there, and that's got to do both.
Diamond bunch look here on the left side, and we have a timeout called, and it is called out by
this one, Dr. Carrier gets the timeout.
Yep. When Jeff decides it's time to stop things, he just stops things. That's just the way that it works around here. And he's got enough clout to do it, too.
Dr. Carrier has 2 timeouts remaining.
Clock operator, 34 seconds on the game clock.
Thank you.
34 seconds.
Wow, we are down to just 34 seconds. The clock here shows 28.
Now it shows 34.
Now it's 34.
By golly, now we can play some football.
3rd down and 13.
Still within field goal range. If they were unable to advance beyond this point, it'd be about a 39-yard attempt. That last kick certainly had a lot of extra air under it, so you think that he should be able to comfortably make from 39 if he's forced to.
Got to believe. They've got 3 wide receivers over here in Pagic, in Matthews, and Kubik. And then behind them in that diamond is the Jared Pittman, the running back.
Clock operator, please place 47 seconds on the game clock. 47 seconds on the game clock. Thank you.
Wow, we just keep going up, don't we, huh? We're going to get another 3 or 4 minutes before this is over and done with. That's plenty of time for these guys to do what they're going to do, and we still have an opportunity to score from what I'm seeing.
I think the offense needs, let's just restart the whole game.
Diamond look over here, single wide receiver to the top and an empty backfield here for Van Fusian. And he'll drop back and look to throw across the middle, and he's got to throw across the middle, but it's a little bit wide of Dylan Paget and will be incomplete, and that will bring a 4th down, and the field goal unit will come off the sideline for the Hornets to try to take their very first lead here of the afternoon.
39-yard attempt. Be from the far hash. Wind not as much a factor as you can see the flags atop the left side goal post right now.
39 yards from the right hash mark here for Greg Kearns. Good snap, good placement. Kicks on its way, and it's wide right. So that only his 2nd miss of the season.
At the leg.
And it gives the Brits the football with 39 seconds, 3 timeouts, and the opportunity maybe to make something happen. But they're going to have a little better offensive output than what they've had so far here today to be able to make this thing work. But again, 39 seconds is an eternity to this offense normally.
It's not only a hurry-up offense, but it's a big play offense. Webcast at albion.edu is how you get hold of us. And want to let folks know a few zombies will rise up for Albion's Thriller Dance on Wednesday, October 31st at 6:45 on the Quadrangle.
4 first downs for the Brits so far this afternoon, 14 for Kalamazoo already. So the Brits offense has just been very sluggish, and they look like they're willing to allow this clock to run itself out, head to the locker room. They will get the football to open everything up in quarter number 3.
Timeout.
And
Albion. They're first of the half.
We take a timeout after the run by Freeman of about 3 yards, maybe 4. Down to the sideline. Let's see if John's mic's working on us right now. John, you got you down there?
Check.
Hey, check. What are you hearing down there, buddy? We ran the ball. Looked like we were going to take it to the locker room, and now we call a timeout. We got to have something up our sleeve. Get in that huddle and check it out for us, bud.
I will.
How is it down there right now? The wind seems to be, it's kind of sporadic down there?
Exactly, it's sporadic. I'm just happy. It's now with the sun. As long as they're not, I'm going to stay perfect for the athletes right now.
31 ticks. Clock is stopped. Brits use their very first time out here of the first half. They have 2 more to go. And now they show signs of trying to figure something out and make this thing happen. They've got doubles to the top with a man in the H-back slot on the visitor's side. Single wide receiver right in front of us, and that is Justin Thomas. Thomas drops back. He throws to the top to Marlon Moore, makes the completion. Moore gets the ball, only a short pickup, and goes out of bounds after about 2. Hoping for maybe a block that would spring Moore down the sideline, I'm sure, but Moore with a short pickup makes it 3rd down now and 4 for the Britons with 26 seconds left to go.
No 2 timeouts for Kalamazoo. If the Britons go conservative on this 3rd down play call or throw an incomplete pass, they have an opportunity to get decent field position and maybe drive down and kick a last-second field goal.
Blanzy and Thomas here on our home side. Thomas throws the opposite direction. It's caught, and down goes the receiver. That was Moore. Moore only got a yard and must have lost his footing, and that sets up a 4th down. And a yard.
But Kalamazoo didn't call a timeout. Now they.
Timeout. Kalamazoo. They're second of the half.
And what they were waiting for there, Jim. Let 2 or 3
I don't
seconds
either.
burn off the clock.
And I'm not sure whether Marlon Martin lost his footing up there. It looked like he caught the ball and just went down to the ground. Whatever happened up on the top, it was only a 1-yard pickup, and the 4th down will give at least Kalamazoo the opportunity to return a kick if they don't get to do anything else. And I tell you what, this Kalamazoo team, Jim, we came in here this afternoon wondering, they're playing some pretty good football on this Saturday afternoon. You're right.
Really good defense. Offense is balanced. The running game was bottled up early, and the Britons' defense was able to get good pressure. But then the running game started clicking, and once that started clicking, they still haven't really done a whole lot in the passing game, save a couple of big completions. But for the most part, the running game has carried the day for the Comets.
Well, the Comets have 177 yards of offense already compared to 73 for the Brits. As this ball will get kicked away and get picked up. Boy, I thought it was going out of bounds, but it didn't make it that far. As Dylan Padgett will pick it up on the sideline. He'll be stopped right away. But it's a tough situation with 4 ticks left to go in the first half. This will probably be the last play, but you would expect that they're probably going to throw this thing down the field a little bit, Jim.
Yeah, it's been a weird 30 seconds of football where you run, then call a timeout, then go short pass trying to break something open. Offense really wasn't clicking on that last drive, trying to run a 2-minute drive. Then they wait and call a timeout, do the Comets. Now they're just going to take a knee and go to the locker room. So just a strange last end of second quarter sequence for both squads right there.
So we'll go to the half. Pretty much locked up the same way we started the ball game, only it's 3-3 right now. Kalamazoo and Albion deadlocked after 2 quarters of football. Brits will get the ball to open up the 3rd quarter. We'll step away for just a minute here on the Britain Sports Network.
party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
It's not my first time bartending, so...
It's a sausage party in here.
It's fine. I'm very familiar.
Yeah, because you're a sexy girl, Sam. Last thing, totally last thing,
Yeah.
is that the music, when Momo kicks it into high gear, is going to get a little bit loud in here. So your customers are going to have a hard time hearing you. So you may want to...
What?
I never seen it. It's
right close to 34 yards roughly.
It's downtown.
39 yards.
It depends where you want to go.
Yeah.
Wow, that's not good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
My other one's in the band.
Oh, okay.
The soloist. Are you up for the team? We were in a competitive.
Yeah, all three schools.
Welcome back to halftime festivities on the Britain Sports Network as the Britain football team takes on Kalamazoo College today. Sports Information Director Bobby Lee, joined by Albion President Maury Ditzler. And Albion College is pleased to announce a huge gift, the Lisa and James Wilson Institute for Medicine. So, President Ditzler, talk about the formation of that gift.
You know, as many big projects, this goes back a long way. Probably 10 years of conversations at Albion. Jim Wilson is a dreamer and a schemer, and he's had a vision for Albion College to be a leader in pre-medical education. That a lot of changes occurred in terms of what medical schools do, and so you know, the undergraduate college is been a little bit slow in adapting to the changes, and Jim has imagined his alma mater, Albion College, to be a leadership institution in that. Our faculty had the same vision, and so over the last 10 years, in a series of conversations, our faculty talking about pre-medical education, Jim Wilson talking about it, then our faculty talking to Jim Wilson, and then Jim Wilson talking to our faculty. Sometimes the conversation moved quickly, sometimes it went on hold for a while, but it's all come together now.
So our viewers might know that Albion has had an institute for healthcare professions. So let's add on to what is the vision for the Institute for the Lisa and James Wilson Institute for Medicine?
You know, the vision is that we're aligned with the medical school curriculum. And we're cutting edge. We imagine doing some programs and some teaching and some new courses that professors from all over the country will come and observe us and listen and go back and adopt that at their institution. And so we of course are providing an exemplary education to Albion College students, but we're going much farther than that. We're improving the quality of education all over the country, and then as a secondary effect, or as a eventual effect, improving the quality of our physicians and doctors that come out of medical schools around this country.
And the beautiful thing about the liberal arts is how the Lisa and James Wilson Institute for Medicine will really cut across majors. I mean, you can do biology, you could do something in the kinesiology department, anything in the sciences, and still take part in this institute.
Our strategic plan talks about the importance of integrated learning, and that's really at the heart of the new curriculum that our faculty envision. One of the things we know about medical education is that it's less focused on specific disciplines of organic chemistry or biophysics than it was in the past, and it's now more organized on problem solving and teamwork and the integration of knowledge. We're going to make certain that our students going to medical school understand those topics, that they're adept at teamwork, and that they're really good at pulling knowledge from lots of different courses together. That's probably the biggest change that we expect to see in the students coming out of our Health Professions Institute.
We'll send it back to Jim and Jim in the press box right after this. You're watching Albion College football on the Britain Sports Network.
Your score at halftime is 3-3. Albion hosting Kalamazoo. Albion comes in 4-1 in the season. Kalamazoo 5-0. And Albion looking to rebound from a tough loss last week here at home. And their offense has continued to struggle this afternoon. You certainly have to tip your cap to Kalamazoo's defense. Scoring recap, very simple. 2 field goals, and they both occurred at almost the exact same time of quarter 1 and quarter 2. At the 6:36 mark of the first quarter, Andrew Fabry nailed a 38-yard field goal, and then Kalamazoo responded after a nice drive in the second quarter stalled. Greg Kearns hits a 27-yard field goal at the 6:51 mark to knot it up at 3 apiece. I'm Jim Bellamy giving you the halftime stats. 14 first downs for Kalamazoo compared to 4 for the Britons. Kalamazoo rushed 25 times in the first half for 76 yards compared to 10 for 34. Passing yards, all Kalamazoo 101 to 39. Total offense 177 to 73. And time of possession also a huge advantage to Kalamazoo. A 3-1 edge, 22 minutes, 31 seconds to 7 minutes and 29 seconds for the home Britons. Through the air, Zach Van Fousey, 10 of 18 for 101 yards and an interception. Van Fousey also has carried 11 times for 20 yards. Jared Pittman leads the squad, though, 11 for 43. Through the air, you have a couple players with 3 receptions each. That's Dylan Paget and Zach Zagon. Paget 3 catches for 39 yards, and Zagon 3 for 28. Raekwon Castello also has 2 catches for 13 yards. And for the Britons, not a whole lot to write home about on offense, unfortunately, as Kyle Thomas, 6 of 11 for 39 yards. Again, no touchdowns, 2 straight weeks now, 6 quarters consecutive of no touchdown passes. Doug Freeman leads the runners, 5 carries for 23 yards. McCoy has chipped in 1 for 4. Thomas only 4 carries for 7 yards. Through the air, 3 receivers with 2 catches apiece. That's Colin Poore with 2 for 18, Justin Thomas 2 for 16, and Marlon Martin 2 for 5. And I'll bring Jim Funderburg into the conversation now, as well as John Bolello. And Jim, it's just a tough first half for the Britons offense. That's 6 straight quarters where the offense really just has not found its groove.
Yeah, and they're going to have to do something to get this thing shaken up, and I would think they probably did that in the locker room. And, John, you've been in a locker room like that before, so I'm sure the coach had a couple of words to talk to him about here over that halftime.
Yeah, you know, their coach being a very Schembeckler, Woody Hayes kind of guy, I'm sure he definitely chewed those guys out.
Well, you know, this is his last time to play against Kalamazoo, and so he'd like to go out a winner here this afternoon. Coach really has a great record against him, 18-3 against Kalamazoo. They started 11-0 and then have basically over the last 7 games gone 4-3. A couple scores from around the conference, John, before you head to the sideline.
Yes, I do. Tryon, who was originally down 21-7 to Olivet, is now leading 35-21 halfway through the second quarter. Meanwhile, Hope continues to lay the hammer on Finlandia, 70-6.
Ouch.
Actually, I have this as the final now. Hope 70, Finlandia 6. No trouble there for the Dutchman.
Man, that's something. The only other game in the conference is a later game, 6 o'clock, Adrian and Alma. And past that, it is now time for football here in Albion, as the Brits will get the football to open up this second half, and let's hope that something can happen maybe on this kick to get things turned around real quickly, as the Britons and the Hornets have a half of football to play. This ball will be kicked deep down to about the 6-yard line is Isaiah Gibson. Gibson up the sideline, 30, breaks the tackle, knocked down around the 33-yard line, looking for that one last block to spring him up the sideline, but couldn't find it. But it's still a nice return, and the Britons will have decent field position, Jim, at the 32-yard line when they bring the offense onto the field.
And you saw at the very end of that play right there, Jim, number 14, Lance Taylor, the freshman wideout playing special teams for Kalamazoo. The Hornet nearly got on that ball, and at the end of that tackle was able to rip it free, but I think he was already out of bounds at the time. The officials had blown the play dead. So break for the Britons, and now they need to make something happen on offense to start quarter number 3.
Let's see if the Britons come out a little more fired up than they were in that first half, as Thomas in the pistol look looking to throw gets rid of the football, and it'll be incomplete. Nice coverage out here on the outside edge.
It's Jake Osen, number 25. We've called his number a few times today, and he was all over Thomas here on the near sideline.
Justin Thomas, the intended receiver. The ball really put pretty much on the money, but Osen able to get his hands in and knock that ball away. Second down now and 10 for the Brits. Just underway, quarter number 3. Fake the handoff and throw it across the middle, and it's behind Blanzy. So Thomas threw that one behind him, and Blanzy really had some running room. If you put that out in front of him, he might still be running right now, because he had just a couple of defensive backs to break, and he had a step on every one of them. So that would not probably have been a touchdown, but a pickup of 20 or 25. But the ball behind him, and it'll be third down now and 10 for the Britons.
Still waiting for Darius Case to show up, Jim. Big target. I know he's back blocking a lot, but
not even on the field right now.
Offense, number 30, third down.
Legal substitution penalty and march it back 5 yards to make it a 3rd and 15 there.
Poor on this side along with Thomas. And on the other side, it's Blanzy and Marlon Martin, the wide receivers, and now 3rd down and 15 with the illegal substitution. Shouldn't be any problems for a normal Britain's offense, but today has not been normal for this offense. Thomas drops, looks to throw. Running out of time, can't find anybody open, and he'll be dropped at the 20-yard line. Man, I'll tell you what, good coverage down the field. Kyle Thomas couldn't find anybody open, and eventually is dropped for a big loss. It'll be 4th down now and 20 for the Britons, as they'll have to kick this away after really kind of a typical offensive drive for them this afternoon. That's unusual for this offense. They normally have things going a lot better than what they had this afternoon, so we have to credit the Hornets defense this afternoon for playing some pretty good football.
There was Noah Copeland on the stop right there, and a good punt rush, but a good kick.
Nice tall kick, and Dylan Paget will fair catch the ball at the 37-yard line, and the Hornets will have the football 1st down and 10 there. Well, I'll tell you what, Jim, this is unusual. Even though, you know, we started our first 2 years with just the high-power Britain's football program, and then they basically had to rebuild. And this looks an awful lot like that first year after that NCAA team that we watched in our opening year, where they were trying to find themselves. Last year they seemed to find themselves, and this year off to a really good start, 4-0 before that bump last week to Hope. And this week just looks like they've kind of running in slow motion or something. They're going to have to shake out the cobwebs if they're going to beat the Hornets this afternoon. And Faucian again on the quarterback, and he'll turn and hand that football off. And a nice run by C.J. Foster, as Foster is going to get about 7 on 1st down straight up the middle of the football field.
You see carrying the tackler for about 5-6 yards after contact right there, and that's one of your most sure-handed tacklers that he's taken for a ride, Jim. Quentin Jackson goes about 5 yards on the back of the running back right there, so good drive, good strength.
Doubles on top and bottom. That's Kubik here on this side in the slot. They'll throw the opposite direction to the top of the football field. It's caught by Paget. Paget will have a 1st down. He'll be into Britain's territory across the 50, close to the 47-yard line. So again, this offense from Kalamazoo is running on all cylinders here this afternoon, and the Brits offense still just trying to find their way. They'll move the sticks and pick up a 10 on 1st down, makes it on 2nd down, makes it 1st down and 10. Now just underway, quarter number 3.
And that play is made possible really by number 9, Sam Matthews, lined out far left, blocking downfield, and no other defender getting close to him.
And Faucian hands off. They're coming around the corner with Foster. Foster running out of real estate quickly, and he'll be dropped basically at the line of scrimmage. Some of the guys in there, Donovan Slate's one of the guys that came off of that tackle.
And Slate's, Jim, was the player who continued to string that out, cut the edge off, and forced him to cut it back outside. And he had to run into the waiting arms of one of the D linemen, and a good gang tackle for virtually no gain. Give him a yard.
So the pickup will be just under a yard. It'll be 2nd down along 9, and now we've got 5 receivers. Doubles with a single in the middle up on the top side as they bunch and nobody anyplace else, and they'll throw that ball again to the running back at the back. And the blocking very well allows 24 C.J. Foster up the field for the 1st down as he'll cross the 35 to about the 34-yard line.
I like the design of that play, Jim. You get those 5. You set one of those players back for essentially a screen pass, then you have 4 blockers. So that's one of those things that as you look for the defense to adjust on a play like that, the more they want to cheat to that side, that's where you consider maybe throwing the running back in motion and throwing it to the opposite direction.
Handoff goes to Pittman this time, and the counter will go nowhere. In fact, Pittman will lose about a half a yard on that 1st down run. And again, showing that that bunch to the home side and then going the opposite direction. Loss of about a yard. 2nd down and 11 now for the Hornets as we get things going here in this 3rd quarter.
But those short passes essentially just an extension of the running game. So, you know, they're doing whatever they can to give their players the ball in space.
And Faucian again swinging those arms back and forth. Now it drops straight back. Here comes the rush. Gets it away and completes it inside the 30 at the 29. On the tackle is Levi Ladd, and on the catch was Dylan Paget. And Paget having a pretty good afternoon here as he gets about 6 on that throw and catch. So Third down now and about 4 is what they're going to say here for the Hornets.
In the first half, Padgett was getting about 13 yards per reception, Jim. So he's definitely one of your crunch time receivers in key down situations.
Pittman, the only running back in the backfield, and now they will bring Padgett in motion, and they'll look to throw that screen pass back to him. He just got it to him, and Padgett has the ball, the first down, and out of bounds inside the 20. I'll tell you what, that one almost got knocked down, and if it would have been intercepted, Quentin Jackson was heading the other direction but couldn't quite get that big mitt on that football.
If only your fingers are maybe about 3 inches longer. You'd have an awfully big right hand, but it still would have been able to knock that one down.
Interesting little screen pass off to the left side to that flanker.
Dangerous screen pass right there. That's one where that may not work more than once.
First down and 10 now, Kalamazoo. 10-14 to play, quarter number 3. Brits had the ball to open things up, couldn't make things work. Pitch, left corner. Round the corner goes Foster, and Foster again with a nice pickup before the Brits able to knock him down. He'll get 7, maybe 8 on that run.
Foster is a tough runner. And this second half, as long as he doesn't get too banged up with the contact he's taken, he is really getting low, and he's able to drag the defenders for extra yards.
McIntyre made the tackle for the Britons, but not before Foster picked up 8 on that first down scamper. And the Britons defense now needs to keep this team out of the end zone because the Brits have not shown any capacity to score touchdowns this afternoon. In fact, they've just had a hard time getting first downs, let alone touchdowns. Quarterback calls his own number. Van Fossen will be a little bit short, I believe, but it will be close as they spot him just across the 10. And I believe he needs, well, let's see.
Well, the officials blew the play dead at the end. You'd only blow the play dead if the first down marker would. Yeah, I was going to say it has to be a first down.
Yeah, there you go.
The side judge wouldn't have blown the play dead.
So it'll be first down now and goal, ball just across the 10-yard line.
And to the point about Foster real quick, Jim, getting low, he's only listed as 5'5" in the program, so he's probably more like about 5'4".
Got a low center of gravity all by himself.
But he's a very, very strong runner.
Again, he's in the backfield, doubles on both sides. And Fossian going to drop and throw, and he's going to try to hit his big fella down about the 4-yard line. And again, Rayshawn Robinson lurking, waiting to get that football in his hands. Ball was incomplete. Second down.
Injured Brit on the play, Drew Schaefer, but he's able to shake it off and stay in. Safety coming up and pass support right there, kind of fell gingerly at the end of that play.
They'll throw triples now on the visitor's sideline. Single wide receiver on this side. That's Giovanni. Single back in the backfield. I believe that's Pittman, number 20, as he moves over to the right side. And they'll roll this way. Quarterback keeps, still trying to make the yardage.
Drive.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what, the one thing that happens is it's a rule change. The offensive lineman was able to hold on to him, okay, lift him up from the bottom side and allow him to force his way down for an extra couple of years. If it wasn't for the left guard able to keep him up off the ground, he'd have gone down at the line of scrimmage, if you notice that.
Yeah, should have, and he's lucky that his knee didn't go down, but I'm not sure the official would have seen it with the crowd of players around there. I didn't notice that until the replay, that he kind of had that left arm and just kind of
he kept him upright there. Third down and 5 here for the Hornets. Britain's defense needs to come up and force a field goal if they can here. Bring up an interesting call on fourth down. Brits with some heat. Throw gets our way late. They get it across the line of scrimmage. And the Britons almost took him out of field goal range with that sack. Aronson deposited Van Fleet down at the Van Fausen back at the 26-yard line, but he got the ball off, got past the line of scrimmage, had receivers close enough that they didn't call grounding on that situation.
Just wondering how he wasn't called in the grasp of the defender.
Yeah.
I know he'd broken out of a tackle once, though, where they had just the jersey, so giving him the benefit of the doubt right there.
Third field goal attempt of the afternoon for Kalamazoo. This is a chip shot, and it goes straight through the middle of the uprights. And for the first time this afternoon, the Hornets find themselves on top 6-3 as we head down to John. John, I'll tell you what, again, the Brits' offense sputtered. Thankfully, the defense not allow them into the end zone here for the touchdown, force them to the field goal.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep. Hey, you're kind of coming in and out. Come on forward to come closer to us there, big guy, and keep talking.
How about that?
There you go. I think John's a little bit farther away from our wireless gear. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's a great victory for the defense, but you know, they can't be on the field the entire time. You know, we saw the amount of possession in the first half, and they cannot sustain that much longer, I don't think.
Now, it has been just a very lopsided football game this afternoon in plays, run, and time of possession for either one of these teams, as the Hornets now just absolutely dominating those two statistics on the afternoon as we go back up and look at this whole thing again. 18 first downs now to 4 for the Britons for Kalamazoo, and 235 total yards to 61 for the Britons. And when you look at time of possession, 28-34 to 8-26 for the Britons right now. So 3 times the amount of time of possession so far, as this low bouncing kick will go out of bounds and give the Britons good field position to open up this drive. I think right now, Jimmy, the biggest thing that the Brits could use is a little confidence builder, something that would go their way and allow them to put a touchdown on the board and maybe get a little confidence and get some things rolling yet this afternoon.
I think what would help the defense as well is instead of just hitting one big play, Jim, you have a sustained drive that you're hitting on everything. You're getting some good runs, you're getting some good downfield blocks, and you're starting to complete some passes. It's been a while since Kyle Thomas had a meaningful forward pass really in this offense. He hadn't had a whole lot of completions. And as you see the penalty get marked off, that's really, I think, the key. I mean, if you can hit one big play and score, that's great. And that'll certainly boost the confidence.
On the whistle, 3.
But I think what the defense needs is the defense needs a break right now.
Yeah, a good sustained drive of about 3.5 minutes would be a big plus for the folks on the opposite side of that ball. I agree with you, Jim. Turn and hand off, and they're going to run this thing. They're going to try to get something started on the ground as Doug Freeman opens up with play number 1 for about 5 yards. That's not a bad idea either, Jim.
Freeman, you're going to need a steady dose of Freeman, but Thomas is going to have to get something going at the quarterback position.
There's your 2 backs in the backfield you were asking for a while ago, and they'll hand the ball to Freeman again, and Freeman bullsey's way forward for about 4. It'll set up a 3rd down and short now for the Britons.
Again, having that 2-back look out there, if they start doing some different things, maybe they're faking one way, going the other, or something like that, or bringing them out of the backfield, putting them in the slot. Make the defense keep them honest.
Surzo comes in motion. They throw the ball to Zach, and he'll have the 1st down just barely across the 45 to the 46.
That's
but
okay.
Again,
it's a 1st down, though.
Exactly. You move the sticks and get a little confidence going here. And again, the ball bobbled just a little bit by Surzo coming along the out of that backfield, but he was able to maintain his balance and maintain possession, get the 1st down. 1st down, Brits, 46-yard line. 6:52 to play, quarter number 3. Surzo now right up the middle, and he's got close to 10 as he keeps his balance and he squirts his way out for about 9.
Stepped out of his first tackle about 3 yards past the line of scrimmage at about the 50, and then got all the way almost down to the 45.
Surzo again with Freeman in the backfield. Thomas in the middle between the 2. Doubles to the top, single to the bottom. Thomas will throw again to Surzo. Nice catch. Can't make that first guy miss, so he'll get back to the line of scrimmage and not much more. And it'll be 3rd down and 1.
There's where you have the 2-back look and you send him out, but instead of putting him in a pattern where he's maybe running a quick slant, they're kind of sticking with the screen pass. So you're giving the guy the ball in space, which is what you want, but the defense for Kalamazoo pretty focused, not getting off their spot, so they're able to stay home and make the tackle.
3rd down and 2. Kalamazoo showing a little blitz off the edge. They'll give the ball to Freeman, and he'll have no problems with the 1st down. 40-yard line where he bounces off the turf, and it'll be 1st down and 10. And again, a late handoff there.
Jacob Frederick on the stop, assisted by
Frederick makes the stop for Kalamazoo, but not before Freeman gets about 5.5, and it'll be 1st down and 10. 5:31 to play, 3rd quarter. Brits moving. Surzo again, room up the middle again, about 4 yards, maybe 5 on 1st down. And tell you what, Jim, I like this idea of having that 2nd down and 4 or 5 or 6 rather than that 2nd down and 10 or 11.
I think Coach Rundle probably likes that too.
I know he does.
2nd and 4, sure.
Mark,
twist my arm, I'll take a 2nd and 4.
Mark McCoy checks in And Zach Serzo goes to the sideline, so it's Freeman and McCoy now in the backfield, and McCoy will come in motion this way. Thomas looks downfield, throws the ball to the sideline. It's completed, and that is Colby Canfield. He'll get a couple, not much, inside the 35 to about the 33-yard line. So it'll set up a third down at about 3 now for the Britons.
That's the thing with those patterns, Jim, is when you want to run and sit down, you want to be past the chains when you sit down. You don't still want to be 3 or 4 yards behind, because where he's throwing it on the sideline, he's not going to get any yards after catch.
Pretty good coverage in the backfield here this afternoon by Kalamazoo. Freeman now with some running room inside the 30 down to the 27. He's just absolutely besides himself. One more move, and he's on his way to the end zone as you watch the replay here.
The problem is the one more move is being made on 25 Jake Osen, whose name we've called a lot today, and the Hornets, Jim, on defense, especially in that secondary, are pretty sure-handed tacklers, so it's going to be hard to make a guy miss and get past.
First down at 10. Again, we go back to that running game. This time it's McCoy with some tough yards off the left side down to the 22. So McCoy picks up about a handful on that first down run, give him 6.
And what you and I asked for at the beginning of this drive has so far taken shape. A drive that has been sustained. Even though they're still running no huddle, it's not the frantic pace they've run before, giving the defense a chance to rest, and they're building their confidence, moving the chains.
Blanzy and Sykes now wide here on the home side, single receiver to the top. Though again, give it to McCoy. McCoy bounces into his own guy at the line of scrimmage and then changes direction slightly and ends up with a pickup of about 2. Third down now and a long 3 for the Brits.
And Jake Sipnewski, number 21, and on that stop, might have hit his own guy first. Then he turned around and McCoy wanted to lay a hit on somebody else, so he ran into big 21.
Doubles to the top, triples to the bottom, single to the bottom, and they'll turn and fake the ball, then cross the middle, but behind Blanzy. And boy, Blanzy again had room right across the middle of the football field, and that ball thrown behind him. As you watch the replay again, he had to stop and try to bring it back in, and it was just too far behind him to be able to make a play. So the Brits will try to tie this one with a Fabry field goal, and it'll be about a 38-yarder.
And the difference so far in the two quarterbacks and the completions, when the Hornets are getting to their soft spot in the zone, they just sit down instead of trying to run after the catch.
Fabry has this one through the uprights, and this ball game is tied at 6. So Fabry again for the season is perfect on the year, and this one today has kept them in the ball game. The young fella who's a senior, and it's going to be hard to see him go. But again, Andre Fabry with a nice kick, and John on the sideline. At least the Brits have to feel a little bit better about that drive, I would think.
Oh yeah, and I think a big thing is this, getting those first downs is a big confidence builder. Obviously in the first half, really didn't get anything going. So a lot more energy on the sideline right now.
One thing that we're seeing, I think, this year in this conference, there are some teams that are going to play you hard. You generally have that in the MIAA, but this year I think it's a little more balanced than it even has been over the course of the last couple of years, as teams just like Kalamazoo starting to play some really good football this year, trying obviously still the cream of the crop until somebody can bump them off the top of the pile. Hope still very, very solid football team, as we found out last week. The Brits still trying to find a few things out and work a few things out. And Olivet, doggone it, don't snooze when Olivet comes to town, because they'll put some points on the scoreboard and go home with a W. So good, solid conference, pretty much top to bottom. Finlandia, the only team this year that really has been that doormat here, and they continue and had a tough afternoon here today. Kick goes down inside the 10, returned out to close to the 20-yard line. And nice job by the Brits to be able to stop that right there. Good job by the Brits, as number 4, Giovanni, caught that ball and brought it out to close to the 21-yard line.
Visit Albion this fall and discover why it is one of the nation's top-ranked liberal arts colleges. There is an open house scheduled for November 10th. Visit albion.edu today to register for a fall open house.
Brits on the afternoon, only 36%, 4 for 11 on third down, compared to 45%, 5 for 11 for the Hornets here this afternoon. So that's been a big difference as well. But maybe the defense can feed now with a little bit of a break off the offense. Pitch, no going. Oh, boy, he broke out of that tackle. Nice job, and that's the guy that you've been talking about, Foster. Foster was hit in the backfield. As you notice this, watch this hit lick, but watch him spin.
Yeah, barely held on to that ball, too. So the bobble, I think, is a big part of what cost him, but still, even trying to complete the catch, he was able to step out of a tackle. So excellent job by Foster for that play not to completely disintegrate.
Derek Craig, the first young guy that got the attempt there on Foster, but Foster loses 7 on first down. Here comes the rush. Aronson not quite able to get to him, and the throw is complete out to the 24-yard line. And I'll tell you what, there was about a third and a fourth gear here by Zach Van Fosse, and as you watch him take off as he sees Big 91 coming his way, and has just enough room and just enough speed to get out of that pocket and complete that pass. Nice job.
Wonderful job rolling to his left, and again, that's a hard thing to do for a right-handed quarterback, rolling against the grain and completing that pass, knowing you have 2 defenders closing in fast.
So Zach Van Fosse, a nice job there to make this 3rd down and 7 instead of 3rd down and a whole bunch more. Here comes the heat again over the middle, almost picked off by the Brits. I'll tell you what, he is really, Donovan Slates, thought he had one.
Undercuts the route right here, sells out just off the fingertips. Would have been picked at the 35-yard line, but instead it'll force a punt. And the Brits should have a pretty good starting field position. Again, you're kicking into what little breeze there is out there. So the Brits look primed to have the ball at about the 40, maybe even closer to midfield.
Rayshawn Robinson steps back on his 35-yard line waiting on this kick. And it's about time to see one go to the house, don't you think, Jim? Good low bouncing kick. Robinson is going to scoop it up on the bounce in between a couple of white jerseys. He's close to the 50-yard line, in fact, into Kalamazoo territory at the 49. And there's a senior for you right there. You got to have those kind of guts to be able to pick that one up, and you got to be almost have to be a senior to have that kind of courage to scoop that little squibber up like that one.
Took a chance on that one, that low line drive kick, and it was taking a friendly bounce for the Hornets, but Robinson able to pick that one up, and despite having 3 tacklers coming in and no blockers right up by him, was able to make a few guys miss and get it up to midfield, actually past midfield into the Hornets territory.
Slid past those first 2 potential tacklers and then was able to be tied up by the 3rd guy as the Brits go back to the rush again for a short pickup on first down. I believe that was McCoy on run number 1. So Markel McCoy with a no gain on that first down.
Tackle, I believe, was made by Taylor Jackson, number 40. Was able to go low and get the feet for a no gain.
So 2nd down and 10, 1:13 to play, quarter number 3. Brits and the Hornets all tied up at 6. Little dump pass goes to McCoy, and McCoy gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard before he is tackled. And a good job by Jacob Chantres to make that tackle.
Nearly a, might as well call it a coverage sack, for lack of a better word, with no gain right there. You got to credit the secondary for the Hornets, Jim. There's just nobody open downfield. The Britons aren't getting good separation from their wide receivers.
They've got good size, and they're very athletic in that secondary. There's no doubt about that. 6 foot, 5'11". They got a couple guys over 6 foot in that backfield, and they run very, very well. Quarterback's going to keep it, and he's going to be close to a first down. We've got a holding call right around the 49-yard line, probably kind of bring this back on the Brits. Thomas to the 40, so it would set up a 4th down and 1, and at the 40-yard line of Kalamazoo, you'd have to believe that the Brits would go for it. But if this flag is holding and goes against the Brits, it'll set up a 3rd down and long.
Holding, offense, number 72. That's a 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Trying to make a play at the end of this. As you can see, he sustains his block, and he gets to the outside. And once he gets to the outside, he has to get that hand under the shoulder pads and pull the sleeve. And as soon as they get outside and you're on the inside, that's the only thing you can do is hold.
That's Josh Martin was the young guy getting held. He's 5'9", 260 out of Lansing. Had a good opportunity to make a play on Kyle Thomas. I don't know that he would have gotten there. So instead of 4th down and 1, it's 3rd down now and about 20. Thomas drops, looking to throw, no place to go. Now rolls to his right, throws this ball up the field, And I'm not sure whether it was caught or incomplete. Incomplete over around the 45-yard line. The Brits will have to kick that ball away.
As we begin quarter number 4.
That concludes the third quarter.
So 3 of them in the books. This was knotted at 6 between Kalamazoo and Albion here on this Saturday afternoon. And it's going to be the last 15 minutes that will tell us who's going to take the win home this afternoon. And hopefully the Britons offense, starting to show a little sign of life, will be the ones to make that happen. But Kalamazoo at 5-0, trying to protect that perfect start to their season. And Coach Jamie Zorbo, who's in his 11th year here at Kalamazoo and off to his best start since 1978, is trying to advance this thing to a 6-0 start and make him 3-0 in the conference. You know, Jim, you talked about what they have ahead of them. They've got Alma at home next week, and then they'll play Olivet and Hope on the road and end up with Trine in week number 10 of the regular season. So kind of a tough way out for these fellows from Kalamazoo.
This is where the measuring stick begins here in Albion, Michigan, and it isn't going to get a whole lot easier as the season progresses. A couple of really tough road games coming up for the Hornets.
Dylan Paget is the young fellow that's back in single coverage at the 22-yard line as the Brits about ready to kick this ball away. And again, Sam Blanzy has a lot of heat, and that ball's blocked. And it's up and in the hands of the Hornets, and they're going to take this one in for a touchdown. Oh, my goodness. Number 30 comes out of that pile with that football, and that is Jamison Brown.
Yeah, that one, Jim, you could see that one just taking way too long. And remember what we said earlier when they only rushed 2. All of a sudden they started bringing 3 and 4 right up the gut. And the blocking did not match the rush in that case, so excellent pressure. And they were able to get that blocked punt and turn it into 6 immediately. So Kalamazoo, the first team to put the ball in the end zone today.
And the extra point now trying to make this a 7-point ball game as Greg Kearns, who is 20 for 20 on the year, making 21 for 21. And John down on the sideline, that has to take the wind out of the sails real quickly.
Yeah, that definitely stung with some of the players, but I think this is a new team in the second half, and I don't think they're as rattled as they would be if this was the first half. But I think, you know, if they can get their offense going, they'll be all right. They just gotta put everything together, you know.
Well, I'll tell you, as you said, Jim, that one just took a lot of time to get that ball. It seemed like the ball was slow getting back to the punter, and then the rush was a good one by Kalamazoo, and it just seemed like it took Blanzy a little bit extra time to get that thing off his foot. And by that time, there were 3 white jerseys in front of him, and Brown able to scoop the ball off the carpet and had a couple of blockers around him, and it was a pretty easy scamper there from about the 20-yard line all the way in for the touchdown.
Good pressure by the Hornets right there, and special teams, the third area that doesn't get talked about as much. Usually the only time you talk about special teams is when something bad happens, and that's a case where something unfortunate happened for the Britons.
Marlon Martin is deep here on the home side, and he will get the kick at the 4-yard line. Let's see if the Brits can return the favor. Martin up the home sideline to the 27-yard line, and the Britons will have the football right there on their 27.
The excitement of Albion athletics continues at 5 o'clock as the Britain men's soccer team takes on MIAA rival Hope College on the alumni field inside the Davis Athletic Complex. The men's soccer team also has a home MIAA match Wednesday night at 7 o'clock against Kalamazoo. And the Britons right now, Jim, need a touchdown to get back in this ballgame.
13-6 right now. Hornets on top here as we open up play for the first time in the fourth quarter for the Britons offense, and they'll turn and go back to Freeman again. And Freeman with a big hole off the right side. He'll go ahead for about 7, almost 8, maybe 9 by the time Doug is rustled to the carpet here at Albion.
Another running back, Jim, who gets a lot of yards after contact right there. Hit about 2 or 3 yards past the line of scrimmage. And you can see he goes 9 yards down the field, so that's a good 6 yards after first contact.
So 2nd down and 1 for the Britons, and they'll go right back to number 28. He'll go left side this time. Not as much running room, and he'll be close to the first down. Let's see if they'll mark him far enough ahead to give him the first down, and I believe they do. Looks like the chain gang's moving, and it will be first down as Freeman gets 9 on the first carry of the drive, and then about a yard and an inch on that second carry, just enough for the first down. Britton's with the first football now and have to find a way to tie this bad boy up. Thomas around the left corner. He's going to run this one with no hesitation, and it'll be up the football field close to the first down. They'll say he stepped out right at the 45-yard line, about 2 yards shy of the first down, but it'll be second down and 2. And again, Jim, to your point, no hesitation that time by young Mr. Thomas. He saw what he saw, and he took off.
Well, take what the defense is giving you. If your receivers aren't getting open downfield, what can you do to beat the defense? And the answer is run. He's an excellent runner.
Kyle Thomas, a sophomore who learns every time he goes out on a Saturday afternoon. It's going to be fun to see him play his junior and senior year. Boy, I'll tell you, that one got bumped away by number 25, Jake Osen. And how many times we called Osen's number? But watch this one. Was he a little bit early? It looked like it to me. He got the arm in there, but the rest of the body came right on through the intended receiver. He tipped the ball away with his left arm.
He just kind of ran through
But he just kind of ran through the intended receiver to get there. Third down and 3 now for the Britons.
Osen, though, playing an excellent game today, Jim.
Osen has played a wonderful game this afternoon. Thomas dumps this off into the flats, and it's not going to get what they hope for. Colin Poore had the football, and he'll get back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe stretch it by a yard, but it's going to set up fourth down now and 1.
Well, they're going to punt. I'm surprised here, Jim.
Britton's going to kick this thing away on the 40 from the 46-yard line. They need about a yard, and again, Sam Blanzy had his last one blocked. So it
go faster this time.
Wonder if that's working through his head, and also these 3 protectors he's got in front of him. We're going to have to do a little better job giving him some time. Dylan Paget again drops back deep. Not quite the rush this time. The high, tall kick that has Paget put his hand in the air at the 10-yard line and to pull it in right there. So it'll be first down and 10 now for the Hornets at their own 10.
The Albion volleyball team serves up a home match against MIAA rival Kalamazoo College on Tuesday. The first serve is set for 7 o'clock inside Kresge Gymnasium. The Britons also host non-league matches next Friday and Saturday, so visit GoBrits.com for the schedule. Man, volleyball season already going on. 17,000 different sports taking place today here around the sports complex. There's so much going on. Bobby was telling us before the game also that, everybody's just everywhere today, even though the students are on break. There's still so much activity going on around here.
We'll check in on that Olivet Trine game with John here in just a minute or two. Give him a chance to look in for us as the Hornets will run this football on first down, ahead to about the 25-yard line.
Britt's defense needs a strip right here, Jim, because Kalamazoo has gotten comfortable on offense, and now with the touchdown lead, they'd like to flip the field at the very least and force the Britons to drive down, which the Britons have not been able to do. But they're happy just taking time off the clock right now. Get a couple first downs, make it very, very difficult for the Britons offense to respond.
Kalamazoo with 239 total yards here this afternoon. For the Britons, only 125. And you got to remember, this is a Brits team that puts about 500 yards of offense on the scoreboard every Saturday afternoon. So this afternoon has been a rugged one. Pitch comes around this left corner and out to the 30-yard line, maybe the 31 or 21. I'm sorry.
About a yard short of the first down.
Paget, and Paget is close, but a little bit short of that first down marker. So it'll be third down and just under a yard for the first down for the Hornets. And this would be a big stop for the Brits here.
Third down and 1.
Again,
build the confidence for their defense to get a third down stop right here, Jim.
Pittman, the only back in the backfield. Zach Van Felsing has called his own number several times this afternoon as Pittman moves to his left. Doubles on both sides here for the Hornets. And they will run right up the center of the field, and he will get just exactly what he needs as he ducks underneath the tackle for about a yard, maybe a yard and a half, and it'll be first down and 10 now for the Hornets.
Probably could have taken on the defender a little more aggressively, but knew he was just far enough past the chain that he can go ahead and just give himself up at the end of that run. So smart, live to fight another down.
Sean Kubit Miller was the guy, so he's given up about 100 pounds, maybe 150 pounds to that big fella. I'd love to see him take him on head-to-head on that one. That could have been a whole lot of fun for the guys wearing the purple and gold, but they need to get the football back, Jim. I agree with you. Down 7. Plenty of time left to go in this football game, but you really don't want to allow Kalamazoo to score on this drive. Pitch goes out around the right end, and there's no place to go. Good job that time by the Britons to be able to make that top. And that is Craig again, 19. Derek Craig, the sophomore, who came up and put a lick.
Yeah, that's the hit a DB dreams about right there when you're in run support.
No gain, 2nd and 10. Clock still moving, heading towards 10 minutes to play in this football game, and the Brits down by a score.
Now, does that hit turn it up for the defense, Jim?
Well, let's hope so. Brits need a takeaway. I agree with you. Right now is the time to, if you're going to turn this thing around, here'd be a good time to pick up a fumble or grab an interception and get this momentum heading towards the last 10 minutes of this ball game. Quarterback drops, throws out in the flats, and again, great coverage by the Britons and a double team there. As the first man to get there, Josh Padelt.
73 Kalamazoo must leave the game for one play. Helmet
came
off.
Yep.
Padelt made the initial grab and then was helped a little bit on the sideline, but a pickup of only 1. 3rd down and 9 now for the Hornets.
3rd down, 9.
A little bit more speed on the field for this 3rd down, figuring they're going to pass.
9:20.
Kalamazoo might throw in either an option or a run in or a draw.
Play clock down to 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2, 1.
Timeout.
And they called the timeout. And a good job by the coaching staff over there to see exactly where that clock was.
Kalamazoo, they're first to the half.
Let's head down to John real quick. John, how about that ball game between Trine now and Olivet? Where does that one stand?
Yeah, Olivet is fighting back right now. The score at the beginning of the 3rd quarter is now 35-28 with Trine on top. So a very close game. Have to keep an eye on that.
35-28 Trine here in the 3rd quarter. So a good ball game going on there, and a great game going on here. But I'll tell you, the Brits going to have to figure something out, John. What do you think, man? We got to have a big stop here, and then that offense needs to score to counter that touchdown.
And that's it. They just got to make the right plays and have plays actually go for first downs here. I know they do a lot of screen plays and stuff, but it's just not getting the job done. I'm not going to question the play calling because that's not not my place. But
I think you just tip your hat this afternoon to the Kalamazoo defense so far. They've played extremely well. 9:18 to play. Big 3rd down and 9. And Fountain in the shotgun drops back. Here comes the rush. They're coming to get him. He lobs one up and out of bounds. He knew he was going to be dropped down inside that 10-yard line, and a heady job by the senior to be able to throw that one away. Again, the difference between a sophomore quarterback, Jimmy, and a senior quarterback. There's a young fellow who's been playing football now for 4 years on this level, and when he sees 3 runaway purple jerseys and gold helmets coming at him, he doesn't even hesitate. Sure, it's 3rd down and 9, but we're throwing this one away, and we're not taking that 10, 15-yard loss.
Exactly, and the last thing you want to do is put your punter in a position where he's going to have to kick out of the end zone with a defense that all of a sudden is now fired up after a big stop. The receiver is close enough that he was able to fire it into the sideline, into his bench, and just no harm, no foul there.
Sharamella to kick this thing away, and Rayshawn Robinson going to take this one to the house, Jimmy. Such a bad kick, he won't even get a chance. I was going to call my play, and then that kick was so bad, but it got the job done as it basically ran 27, almost 42 yards on that kick, 43 yards on that kick, and it was an unreturnable kick. And Rayshawn Robinson, who had a chance to field a couple of those bouncers, didn't even get that opportunity this time.
Nope, and if that was a miss hit, then it was a very fortunate miss hit for the Hornets there. Like you said, kicking it away from the returner, didn't outkick the coverage, and the ball was stopped dead by the Hornets, so no return.
Money time for the Brits. Here comes the blitz. Thomas gets it away across the middle and just overthrows Colby Canfield right up the center of the field. If that had a little more air, Canfield was behind the defensive backs when he was on his way to the house, but that one just a little bit too far.
Canfield's a name, Jimmy, really have not called today, so there's another guy I thought was going to have potential breakout performance. Him and Blanzy both. Passing game just not clicking.
Well, you got Matt Ford back there, who is 6'3" and 210 pounds, and he's played a pretty decent center field all day long, as this running play will get 2, maybe 3 right up the center. But this Kalamazoo defense has been very stout on all aspects this afternoon, something that we haven't seen. So the team progressing to the point right now that they've become very, very competitive here in this MIAA. Thomas drops again, has some time, now he runs out of it. Roll towards the home sideline, throws the ball up the field, got Blanzy, it's complete, and it's inside the 30-yard line at the 29-yard line. I'll tell you what, nice.
Wonderful pass. All set up by good blocking. The one D lineman who had a shot at him was taken out by a double team, and how did Blanzy not go out of bounds before he caught this ball, Big Jim?
Look at that one, man. Nice catch, nice throw.
And Blanzy's had the dropsies today, too, so that was a clutch situation to hold on for a big first down.
First down and 10. Hand off to McCoy, right up the middle of the field. There was an opening, and he's crossed the 25 to the 23-yard line.
And is that the play that finally turns the faucet back on for this offense?
Let's hope so. Let's hope so, because it has been a struggle all afternoon long. Second down at about 5. McCoy this time, left side. Breaks a couple of tackles. He's inside the 20. Will he be close enough for the first down? We'll find out.
They're going to mark him just a little bit short as he needs to get closer to the 19. Brings up a very critical 3rd down and 1 with 7.5 to play here in the contest. Britain still trailing by 7, 13-6.
Well, you're definitely in 2-down territory right here unless something crazy happens, right? Handoff, nope, fake handoff by Thomas. He'll go around the left end, uses his blockers inside the 15, steps out at the 14, first down and 10.
And that decision to break it to the outside made my heart stop momentarily right there, that he lost his forward progress by doing that. And usually the longer you string out a run as a quarterback, the more likely it is your wide receiver is going to be caught with a hold down the field. So got the first down, but man, I'd like to just dart north-south right there.
Ball on the Hornets' 15-yard line, first down and 10. Thomas with time in the backfield. He throws, he's got his man inside about the 6-yard line. That's his brother, I believe, number 1.
And that is a first down, is it not?
First down and goal, I believe, but
if not, they're going to mark him
second and short, very
inches.
short.
So that means the Britons can get a first down, which is okay. Still a lot of time left, 6.5 to play.
Well, the interesting part, too, if you knock this in, do you go for 2 or you just kick the extra point with 6 minutes to play and take your chances? Hand off McCoy. McCoy's at the 2, maybe the 2.5. Little counter action there on the handoff, and the Brits have the first down. It'll be first down and goal at about the 2.
To answer your question,
yeah,
Britons need to just get the ball in the end zone first. Worry about the rest of the stuff later.
Don't get that far ahead is what you're telling me right now. Smart call, Jimmy. That's why you're here. First and goal. Throw to the corner. Caught. Nope, not caught.
Dropped it on the way down.
Canfield was the intended receiver. Ball kind of put on the money, but Canfield was battling back there with the young fellow that we were talking about, Matt Ford. Ford's a tough go. Southfield, Michigan sophomore, 6'3", 210. You don't find too many defensive backs in this conference that are that tall. And generally, you're throwing over a guy who's 5'10", 5'11", maybe.
Yep.
You add 5 inches on that young fellow, and you've got to try to judge that distance over his head. And the incompletion sets up a second down, but McCoy's in. There you go. Markel McCoy watches the hole open and follows it into the end zone. First touchdown of the afternoon for the Britons.
And I see Fabry coming out, so that probably answers that question about whether or not you go for 2. And again, I think points are at such a premium today that you have a normally sure-footed, let me see if I can avoid the jinx by saying a normally sure-footed kicker, Andrew Fabry out to try the extra point.
Well, you remember as this one goes through the uprights and ties it up at 13, how, as we said in the pregame, how these guys bumped Adrian. They bumped Adrian when Adrian scored and missed that extra point. And then they were able to go down and score, hit their extra point, and make it a 1-point game, 31-30. This afternoon has become just absolutely a battle of defense, and the Britons have tied it up at 13 finally here with 5:49 to play, and now their defense is going to have to stand up and take control of their this possession and get that football back so that we can go down and score and send everybody home with a regulation win.
And you have to remember too, Jim, despite the fact that the Britons were playing from behind down 7 points, the offense was not responsible for that 7-point go-ahead. That was a special teams touchdown. So despite all the time of possession advantage and the yardage they've gained, their offense has only put 6 points on the board today.
Giovanni and Castello are the two fellows back on the deep safeties here for the Hornets. Castello here on the home side, and they'll go to Giovanni the other side, and he comes up, catches it at the 18-yard line. Now he'll head towards the Britton sideline, and he'll be knocked down at the 28-yard line. And again, a nice job by Derek Craig, who made the tackle on that play. Kalamazoo with the football right at the 30-yard line.
The next to last home date for the Albion's women's soccer team is next Saturday. It'll be a noon kickoff against MIAA rival Calvin College. That's the next to last contest for women's soccer next Saturday against Calvin.
Won this afternoon against Olivet, and Cedria told us that one when she came back over from the soccer field. Men will play a little bit later here this afternoon. There'll be trips up to the top right now for the Hornets. They'll turn and fake the handoff. Quarterback's going to keep it, and he'll have a nice pickup on first down across the 35 to about the 36-yard line. That has been a very successful play all afternoon, Jim.
He's done a good job with the fake right there, and you're able to hold that ball to the last possible second in that RPO-style look. He's able to roll right, and I have a lot of respect for that quarterback. He's strong in the pocket, pretty mobile, and also a tough guy to bring down.
There's that bunch of 5 up on the visitor's sideline, an empty backfield here.
Every time it's been a short pass.
And that's where it is again. It goes to the running back at the back of that bunch, and he's ahead with a couple of blocks for about a 2-yard pickup. It'll set up a third down and now 2.
And if I noticed that as a football novice, you have to think that the experts down there in the field notice it way sooner than I do too. So yeah, every time they've run that 5 or that diamond formation, it's always been a swing pass, and they've counted on the guys in front to lead the blocking downfield.
They've stacked 2 in the flank here on the home side, and then 2 wide receivers, 1 on each side with a single running back in the backfield. Third down and short. And they'll go on the ground, and the Brits are looking for it. And this is going to be a big loss by C.J. Foster. Foster had no place to go, thought they'd keep the Brits maybe by surprise, and guess who figured that whole thing out? Mitchell Aronson.
I was going to say, would it be 91 by chance?
He said, hold it a minute. You're 5'5", I'm 6'4". You're going to the turf, and you're going to lose about 3 yards on this play. Threw him for about a 10-yard loss, but they ruled his forward progress basically stopped about 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, so it'd be fourth down at about 4. And Rayshawn Robinson, who I've been waiting to break one all year long, stands back at his 25-yard line, just aching for the opportunity.
The last kick was far off to the left, where he played it safe and kicked it away.
Low snap, gets it away. This one's going to be returnable, though, as Rayshawn back to the 20, looking for a block. And unfortunately didn't get it. And the 27-yard line is where the Brits will have the football, first down and 10 with 3:41 to play. John, I'll tell you what, optimism on the sideline. I had to believe the Brits feel good with that last drive. They need one more here to put this one away and go home.
Oh, yeah, they're psyched, especially after that last very nice offensive possession. I think they're very confident right now.
First down and 10, Brits, 3:41 to play in the ball game. Brits have all 3 of their timeouts, and they have the football. And I wouldn't mind seeing a 3-minute and 40-second drive, Jimmy, that ends up in a score. It doesn't matter whether it's a field goal or a touchdown for my money. How's that? As Thomas goes in motion. They'll hand the ball off to Freeman. Freeman cuts off right guard, across the 30 to about the 32-yard line. That's a pickup of about 4 on first down. It sets up a 2nd and 6.
There's a quick reset. 2 timeouts for Kalamazoo, 3 timeouts for the Britons. So if Albion gets into plus territory here, then you might see Kalamazoo try to burn one of those 2 remaining timeouts to buy themselves some time.
Pass across the middle. It's caught to Blanzy. How did he get that one through those 2 defenders? That's a first down as Blanzy. Watch this throw. Holy smokes. Hand up at the line of scrimmage, and 2 defensive backs closing on Blanzy. Thomas puts it right on the number. Blanzy pulls it in. First down and 10 with that pickup of about 13.
Confidence booster. That last drive, I think, was it. And now you're starting to see that same kind of mojo that Thomas had in previous games, back to that connection to Blanzy.
Ball at the 44-yard line, first down and 10. They'll fake the run. They're going to throw this one down the field as well, and it's caught and then dropped. And I'll tell you what, there's got to be a little, the 28 had no idea where the ball was. 28 was all over our guy, and the ball almost caught anyway. But a nice job by the Brits. Look at this thing. Underthrown, and
had the defender turned around right there.
And had him reaching and grabbing, but again, the officials right on the spot. They couldn't see what was happening in front.
Probably saying just playing the ball. At least he did get his head around. So.
No doubt about that.
But the defender definitely was fooled on that pass. Well-designed play.
And we have a motion call on the Brits here before everything gets started. So that's going to cost them 5 and make it 2nd down and 15.
Ball start. Offense, number 51. That's a 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
So on the right side of the line, a little bit of hesitation once that ball was spotted. You can hear in the officials' mic the wind picking up a little bit. It's really deceptive out there, but again, the Britons are going left to right, so they're going to be going into that wind should a field goal be an opportunity.
2nd down and 15 now for the Britons. Clock is stopped with 2:41 to play in this ball game.
Quite a few yards to go before we have that conversation.
Poor goes in motion. Thomas going to throw it down the sideline to his brother. This one's a little bit over his head and out of bounds. So that'll be 3rd down now and 15, and the Britons need to find something here to stretch this drive. That one just way too far and out of bounds.
They're going at number 28, Deshaun Moore, who was also in coverage on that previous pass attempt down the sideline. They've been going to single coverage on him, no safety help over the top, and when they've taken their shots, they've taken a lot of them in his direction.
Look at Moore and Ford. Moore is 6'2", and Ford is 6'3", so a couple of tall defensive backs here of the Kalamazoo secondary, and this sack is going to cost the Brits their opportunity here.
No timeouts being used yet by Kalamazoo as the clock continues to drip on 4th down. We're going to be at about 2 minutes before this ball is snapped, so I'm surprised Kalamazoo doesn't try to call a timeout now and preserve as much time as possible.
Jacob Frederick was the young man that got the tackle on that play and sets up the 4th down.
Now, how big is the punt protection unit? Never thought you'd talk about punt protection as being critical, but now with the block that's returned for a touchdown, it's a must.
Padgett waiting on this kick. Ball gets out, but it's not a good kick. And it takes a Kalamazoo bounce at the 42-yard line and is down to the 44-yard line. So a tough afternoon here of punting for the Britons, which is not normally the case for this bunch. And the defense now has to play some tough defense with 1:53 to play to maybe send this ball game into extra time.
Yep, you can't be giving up a couple of 1st downs here. You're going to need a 3 and out. Give your offense a shot.
Again, Kearns has hit the long this year of 40 yards. He's 7 for 8, or now with a couple today. He is now 9 for 11, or 9 for 10 on the season, or 9 for 11. I'm right, because he'd missed one coming in. So 9 for 11 on the season, 40 his long. And the Britons defense just needs to bring the heat. Toss it right down the middle, and he's got a wide open receiver, and he's on his way to the touchdown. Oh my goodness. That ball was thrown to Castello in the middle of the field, and he was all by himself. Everybody bit on what they thought was going to be a much shorter pass than that one. And I guess the only thing that you can say about that, Jimmy, is it happened so quickly that there's 1:44 left to go in this football game. The Brits have an opportunity to answer here.
Well-designed play again. That's the running back going out of the backfield. And it's a tough matchup whether you put a safety or a linebacker on him. That's a tough ask.
Castello all by himself in the center of the field. The ball put right on the money, the extra point up and through the uprights. And just like that, it's 20-13. Kalamazoo on top with 1:44 to play. Well, look at this thing.
Good protection. Stayed in the pocket. At least 5 yards on the defender right there. Put that ball right on the spot. Well-designed play right there by Kalamazoo.
No doubt about that. So that was a shocker for the home side. But the Brits now, again, with 3 timeouts and 1:44 to play in this football game, have the opportunity to fight back and tie this thing up.
All starts with a big return. Britons can't afford to have a holding penalty on the return or a block in the back type penalty. They're going to need a good clean return, give themselves the ball between the 30 and the 40-yard line to start.
Martin and Gibson are back deep. And again, that started with a short punt that gave Kalamazoo good field position. And then the Brits just got sucked in, and how Castello got behind them. Still, watching that replay is amazing because you look down the field and there's one guy wearing a white jersey and he's 5 yards behind everybody else. Now it's just a matter of whether that quarterback can put it on the money, and he did a nice job with that. And the kick will go into the end zone and will be down there, and the Britons will have their opportunity with 1 minute and 44 seconds left to go and 3 timeouts. Let's see if Kyle Thomas can pull a little magic out of his hat here this afternoon and extend this ball game.
Going to be the kind of play that earlier this season, the kind of drive that we thought Kyle Thomas, he gave us plenty of time. The Britons offense should be able to make something happen, but still the last couple games, the last 7+ quarters, the Briton offense really struggled.
Britain's going to put it together right now. It's do or die time here.
And since the touchdown was a run, this is now essentially 2 consecutive games Thomas has not thrown a touchdown pass.
Yeah, so exactly.
Something has to change.
Kyle Thomas in the backfield, looking to throw on first down, come up the sideline, going to his brother, and that is going to be finally interference.
Yep.
28 pushing and bumping all the way down that sideline, reaching and grabbing.
Hand on the shoulder right there. I think they'll get the left hand on the shoulder.
And you can watch this replay, and I think you'll be able to see it. See the contact right there.
Right hand on the shoulder, my apologies.
Gave him a little push, and that's what the officials saw when he threw the flag. They've gotten away with that a couple of times this afternoon, but all in all, it's been a pretty darn good ball game, back and forth on both sides. They've allowed them to play.
Defense, number 28, during a legal pass, 10 yards, automatic first down.
Yep. Good call
right there. Had his right hand on the jersey. Did let go after the ball was almost there and made a nice deflection on the pass, but the penalty occurred before the ball got there for the pass breakup.
And again, these defensive backs for Kalamazoo this afternoon have played a wonderful game of football. Little pass in the flats. It's caught by Zach Servo, and Serzo will get up across the 40 to about the 42-yard line.
And they're going to mark that a first down, I believe. The FAR judge is marking that right at the 45.
Wow, look at that.
That's a generous spot.
Nice job by Serzo to get that far, I guess. I thought he'd stepped out.
2 yards back.
I really thought he'd stepped out a couple yards ahead of that, but instead they put him at the 45. It's first down at 10, minute 17. Clock stopped.
And that side judge is right there by the.
Yeah, the officials have done a wonderful job here this afternoon of officiating this game.
And he's a lot closer than we are, so.
No doubt about it. They've allowed them to play, and they've called the penalties when they needed to. Again, a throw and a catch. Wow. Nice job to lay out by Colin Poore to pull that ball inside the 40-yard line at about the 38-yard line.
Good blitz pickup on the blind side also, Jim, by the running back Zach Serzo right there to keep that pocket clean.
Serzo is the running back again to the right of Thomas. He goes out in the flats. Thomas looking downfield, and he's going to throw this, and it's caught 22-yard line, maybe the 23-yard line.
And again, now you're seeing Jim with time running out as Blanzy walks off the field kind of gingerly there with that right side. You're seeing the soft coverage, which is giving them better passing lanes. Now they're going to need to turn up the pressure. The Hornets are on the defensive front as we get a guy coming out at the last second.
Oh, and Thomas threw the ball away. They had the opportunity of a lifetime there. Kalamazoo totally in disarray, and Thomas threw the ball away. Basically, that was thrown right to the defender, and that's probably going to do it for the afternoon.
Were there 12 men on the field, though?
There could have been, and we got a flag on the field right now. Let's see what they are calling at this point. There could have been an extra guy on that football field. Let's see.
Or did we have something happen at the end of the play?
Well, I was thinking it was going to be a celebration call because they were happy over on that sideline, but there was a substitution being made on that sideline.
I see the defense coming back out, Jimbo.
Which made me believe that we really had an opportunity there because there was a lot of confusion coming off that Kalamazoo sideline. And I think you're right. Too many men on the field.
Substitution infraction on the defense. 12 men in the formation.
Wow.
That's a 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, I'll tell you what. You want a call that will turn things around maybe for your season? 43 ticks left to go on the game clock right now. The ball back in your possession at the 17-yard line.
And the ball should stop because it was a defensive penalty. Or the clock should stop, sorry.
First down and 10 for the Britons, and what looked to be a turnover that was going to end the football game ends up being a penalty on Kalamazoo, which could now potentially turn this around. Thomas hands the ball off to Surzo, and he'll be ahead for a yard, maybe 2. And with the Brits having all 3 timeouts, you can afford to be able to run that football a time or 2 if you'd like to.
They're first of the half.
John, did you take the same big deep breath that everybody else did on the sideline there a minute ago?
I absolutely did. That was a huge break. Now we just got to capitalize.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And you know what, Jim? It almost goes to your point that I heard you talk about from last week of the interceptions that Kyle Thomas made last week. That ball just poorly thrown, a very poor choice that he made on the play, and then was bailed out obviously by the penalty. And so hopefully maybe this will allow him to redeem himself for such a horrible throw, because they really, Kalamazoo was in total disarray on that defense, and he threw it to the only guy that had an opportunity to make a play.
Well, again, the 4 interceptions he threw last week, all under duress. 2 of the 4 were into double, triple coverage.
Yeah.
The other 2 sailed on the receiver, and that was a case where, again, he's throwing into the wind, so he has to put more on it. He's throwing across his bodies. He's rolling right and having to throw left-handed. You're throwing against yourself.
Yeah.
And so you have to put more on it, and you have to factor in the wind too. Not making excuses, just saying if the ball's going to sail, those are logical reasons why it would.
And again, he's a sophomore, so he's learning every week. Thomas, time. Now he's going to run out of time. Now he's going to change direction on the field. Stop and look and throw the other way. Got the man down there. It's pouring in. Touchdown. 26 ticks left. Colin Poore comes back to catch that ball, and again, after the horrible play made a minute ago, just watch this one. This is a senior play right here. Young fellow looking for somebody downfield, can't find him, reverses his field, and then he says, I see him. Stop, throw, bang.
Get his feet set too. That's the biggest part.
That was a wonderful throw and catch by the Brits. Extra point, very critical here. 20-19, good snap, good placement, kicks through the uprights. No, missed it to the right. Oh my goodness, I thought that was in. Very first miss of the season for Fabry, and boy, it couldn't have come at a worse time.
Now you have to go onside kick.
20-19 with 26 seconds left to go in the football game. Oh my goodness. Ball was low, and it was a nice job to get it up, but that ball pushed just a little bit to the right, and that's the first miss of the year for the senior. And what a time to have one go right.
Now you got to go onside kick to recover, and you still have time if you get the recovery to put yourself in position. And if you believe in redemption, if you recover an onside kick and you get in field goal position, then the guy just makes the extra point, has an opportunity to win the game with a kick. But a lot has to happen in order to get down there. First you have to get the recovery, then you have to make at least, I'd say, 25, 30 yards to put yourself even a realistic field goal position, because the wind is in their face at this point.
And you know, I tell you, again, what a tough situation. You feel very badly for Andre, and the onside kick is covered up immediately by Kalamazoo, and that's going to do it, man. 24 seconds left to go in this football game, and Kalamazoo is going to win their second game in the conference thanks to a mixed extra point.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Adrian and now Albion is going to give up the win here this afternoon based on a missed extra point, and that, boy, is something that almost never happens.
So does that mean they'll also be Alma?
Yeah.
With a missed extra point? Is it just the A schools?
It just might be all the A schools here in the conference that they're giving them a ball game. Oh, well, 24 seconds left. Brits do have a couple of timeouts, but that's not enough to change the outcome of this one, as they find themselves on the short end of a 20-19 contest. And the ball is loose, maybe? Oh, the ball was out. Oh, the ball was out, and somebody, look at this. The gentleman that came up with it again was Jared Pittman, as that ball squirted out of the pile.
Way on the far right side of the...
Yeah.
Timeout. Albion, their second charge timeout of the half.
My
that ball
goodness.
ended up on the far right side.
Yeah, over on the outside of the right hash mark there.
The ball squirted loose and was recovered by Kalamazoo behind the line of scrimmage.
So it will be second down now as the Brits call a timeout.
I guess stranger things have happened, right?
I guess so.
Because that ball was just laying harmlessly on the turf. Somebody could have picked that up and advanced it if the Britons had recovered it right there. And nobody saw. I think everybody was just in the pile.
Yeah, looking for the football.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the ball was laying on the turf, and the only fellow that saw it was Jared Pittman, and he was able to fall on that football and save the possession for Kalamazoo. So 18 seconds now. Second down. And the Britons down to their final timeout. So they need something to happen just like that one, with this time the Brits being able to fall on the football. And
nope, not called.
I think that'll do it right there. Ball still stays with Kalamazoo.
Scrum going on at the 40, but the quarterback had dived backwards.
The quarterback was down in the backfield for a loss of about a yard, and there was a bit of a battle going on the right side there of that line. With that, that's going to do it. 14 seconds. And the Brits are going to call their
Albion,
final timeout.
Third and final. Charge timeout of the half.
And the Brits are going to have to feel like they let one get away here this afternoon, I would think. You know, just a tough situation. John, you up here with us, and do you have a final on that Trine game? He'll be looking for that one.
Well, you know, this game has been going by very fast.
Yeah, so we're ahead of the game with everybody else in this conference, aren't we, huh?
You're well ahead. Let me double check. Last time, halfway through the third quarter, the score still remains 35-28.
Okay, there you go. So it's third down, 14 seconds left to go in the ball game. Brits out of timeouts. And it's basically going to take maybe somehow a muff here and a scoop.
And they're back in the shotgun formation.
Yep, and that's a smart idea right there by Kalamazoo. Take the ball, take the knee, and walk out of here with a victory this afternoon. And it's going to be one that's going to sting for a while, I think, if you're a Britons player.
So the team that you figured would be undefeated leaving today's contest, probably not who you and I would have guessed, but congratulations to the Kalamazoo Hornets. They are now 6-0, 3-0 in the conference. So you win any way you can. And they found a unique way to win for the second time this season thanks to a missed extra point.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's going to be the stats are going to be closer than what you'd even think, because for the longest time the Britons offense really had nothing going on this afternoon. But they were able to make up both yardage and time of possession as the afternoon moved on. But unfortunately, the one thing they couldn't do was hit that extra point when they needed to, when they had scored. And it looked like they were about to tie this thing up and send us into overtime today. And a very reliable Andre Fabre misses the extra point on what looked to be a low snap. And it just basically set the entire thing in motion. And then the ball pushed to the right-hand side, got the ball up, got it set for him and everything, but unfortunately for the Brits, ball sailed right, and the game goes to the Hornets this afternoon, 20-19.
Kicking, Jim, as you know, special teams is all about timing.
Yeah.
Timing and rhythm, and you think about the blocked punt returned for a touchdown, timing was off. Bad snap, forced Blanzy to take a couple extra steps, and it took too long. Extra point, special teams, rhythm, bad snap. Forced him to adjust, slowed his rhythm down, forced him to kick it wide right. So there's 8 points, really.
Yeah.
8 points right there, which is obviously the difference in the ball game. You give up that touchdown, you miss that extra point. Your final being what it was. If they don't return that punt for a touchdown, this game could be completely different.
Well, the Britons will head on to the road now after 2 home losses, and that doesn't happen very often where they'll lose 2 of them in a row. They'll go to Adrian next week with a 1 o'clock kick, and then to Trine the week after with a 1 o'clock kick, and then they'll be back here for the first 2 weeks of November, and we'll be back here a noon kickoff for Finlandia on the 3rd, and a 1 o'clock kick against Olivet on the 10th day of October of November, and that's those will be the final 2 ball games that we will do this year, and the Britons hoping to go on the road and maybe find a little more success on the road than what they unfortunately found right here at home.
Well, sometimes that's what you need. I know, as strange as that sounds, you figure you go home, you know, everything's comfortable, everything is normal, but when you're in a funk like the Brits are right now, maybe going on the road for a couple weeks is the best possible thing that can happen to them. Now you get away from all of this, you let it go, and you try to reinvent yourself over the last couple weeks of the season. And they're going to need to, because this is a very talented football team that, as you said, Jim, is really trying to, again, kind of find its way.
Yeah.
And we thought that they had the answers earlier on in the season. Then you started to see cracks in the foundation just a little bit. You saw Kyle Thomas come back down to earth last week with a 4-interception game. And again today, not having a terribly good ball game despite driving down at the end to almost get it tied there. And, man, it's just they're so close.
Yeah.
And yet, you see the offense stagnant for a good portion of the game today, and last week no touchdown passes. So you can see they still have a ways to go.
John, as an athlete, man, these are the tough ones. These are the ones that you really walk away and probably stick with you all week long.
Yeah, and I didn't get to see all of the game, but like you guys were saying earlier, like one thing like a punt return, and this game could be completely different.
Yeah.
Extra point could take it into overtime. Yeah, these are the types of games that keeps you up at night. But they do have more games to go, obviously, and let's see if they can, let's see if they can win out the rest of the way.
That would be an interesting way to close out Coach Rundle's career here at Albion. The Brits now fall to 4-2, and the Hornets are 6-0, which is hard to imagine. Let's look at these stats, guys. First downs, evened up. 20 for Kalamazoo, 19 for Albion. 11 of them come from passing for Kalamazoo, 9 for the Britons. But look down here at a couple things. Total plays, at one point in time, they had us doubled up. It ended up 71 plays to 64. Total yards, 315 total yards for the Hornets this afternoon. Only 266 for the Brits. And you know what? That's just something that you don't ever expect to see. This is a football team that averages over 500 a game most times. And today was just a tough contest against the Hornets this afternoon. 211 yards passing for the Hornets, 161 for the Brits, 18 for 30 for the Hornets, 18 for 32 for the Brits. And when you go down a little bit farther,
rushing yards 104 to 105, so the Brits with a 1 yard advantage there. Time of possession, the one that I'm looking for as you scroll down to the bottom, 36-45 for the Hornets to 23-15 for the Brits. Part of that is that no huddle hurry up offense that the Britons run, but also part of that is the ability of, especially in the first half, the Hornets to convert on those third downs, keep those drives going. Offense really wasn't producing, and today they really didn't produce a whole lot on offense. They hit the one big pass play. That was it.
Yeah.
Because, again, the other touchdown was scored on a block punt, and then the other two drives that only produced field goals. So the Hornets offense really didn't do a whole lot until the end when they needed to. And that's a dangerous kind of football team. They can grind it out. The defense, as you said, the secondary, tall, physical, has a lot of range. Those are the kind of teams that are built for the November type of football games. And now as we get into, mid-October, now we start getting into the heart of that conference schedule the last few weeks. All of a sudden, those teams that you thought maybe couldn't be beat, a team like Kalamazoo, this league is kind of flipping itself upside down a little bit so far this season. So, they get these wins and we still put, a little bit of a mental asterisk next to it. Well, there's no asterisk next to the Kalamazoo football team. This is, again, another football team that's for real. They're a good team. They're balanced. The quarterback makes great decisions. The running game's pretty strong. And the secondary does its job. They do just enough to win.
They really do. For Kyle Thomas this afternoon, he's 18 for 32, 161 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions this afternoon, so that was at least a plus. Doug Freeman had 12 carries for 58 yards. Markel McCoy with 9 carries for 29 yards, a very important one, though, for the touchdown that he had this afternoon. And then you go down to the receiving side. Brian Blanzy played very tough today, had a couple of big catches late, 3 for 63, average of 21. Colin Poore with a big touchdown catch. He had 5 total for the afternoon for 52 yards. Justin Thomas had kind of a quiet afternoon, only 3 catches this afternoon. So the Kalamazoo defense did a nice job of slowing him down, only 25 total yards. Zach Surzo with 3 catches for 13 yards. Marlon Martin only 2 catches for 5. And Colby Canfield had 1 for 2. Markel McCoy had 1 catch for 1 yard here this afternoon. It just was a difficult afternoon here for the Britons as they fall to the Hornets this afternoon, 20-19 on a missed field goal. And again, the Hornets escape Adrian and now Albion thanks to missed extra points in a football game, late in the football game. And unfortunately for both Adrian and Albion, it goes in the loss column. And for Kalamazoo, they've got to be very happy right now. 6-0 in the season. They're 3-0 now in the conference, and they move forward. And as we said, next week they will have Alma at home. Then they go on the road to Olivet and Hope, and they finish everything up with a home ball game against Trine, and so it does not get easier for them. For the Britons, as we said, they go to Adrian next week, Trine the following week. They'll be home the first week of November with Finlandia, and they close out the season with Olivet here on that second week of November. John, thoughts on this ball game, and what's it going to take to get these guys turned around for this road trip they're about to face?
I mean, I'm no football expert by any means, but this is it looks like a different team than we saw the first few weeks of the season. They don't look explosive. They're just, I don't know if they lost confidence. I don't know. I know guys are banged up, and you're in that meaty part of the season, but I mean, I'm luckily like you pointed out, there are no interceptions today, so that's a plus moving forward. Yeah, they have good players all around the field. They just need to piece everything together. Well,
it was a tough afternoon. This afternoon, Kalamazoo comes out on top. 2019, Jimbo, why don't you take her to the house for us?
For complete details on today's game as well as all other news and notes on the Britons Fall Sports, visit GoBrits.com. Our thanks to Dre and Sam running the cameras, John on the sideline, Ken doing the production, and, of course, Matt and Bobby and everybody here at Albion College. And want to thank them all for making today's broadcast possible. And we want to thank you as well for watching the game. Thank you, as always, for watching the Britons Sports Network. Have a great weekend, everybody.